Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3-year-old Celeste. Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella, vanished on Monday. Their startling disappearance triggering a statewide alert as police and the FBI focus on her home outside Denver, where she was last seen.
Say hi. Say hi. Cece likes the camera. Say hi, Cece.
She loves the camera.
Say hi. Hi. She loves the camera. I don't know if you guys saw her. And then there's Bella. Say hi. We got to get her dressed. We have a team meeting here in, I don't know what time it is, in like 45 minutes.
Go in the ocean. I mean,
Where's that?
I was in a really bad place, and I got a friend request from Chris on Facebook, and I was like, oh, what the heck, I'm never gonna meet him. Except, well, one thing led to another, and 8 years later, we have 2 kids, we live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Oh.
Hi, baby! It's hot.
Big hug.
Big hug.
Where is he? Where's Chris?
And the viciousness of the crime. And equally aggravating in this court's determination is the despicable act of disposing of the bodies in the manner in which they were done in this case. I've been a judicial officer now for starting my 17th year, and I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
Okay, so, oh, no. There we go. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream and chat. It is Watch the Obsession Friday night date night. And thank you guys so much for being here. I am so glad you're here for Watch the Obsession date night. And sorry, this was a planned late start tonight because my best friend is visiting from out of town. She drove about 6 hours to get here, and she got here just a little later this evening. So couldn't get started until, she got here and got settled in, and she's all settled in, and she's got to get some rest now. So here we are doing our live stream. So welcome to everybody who's here. I just want to say hello to the chat really quick. Oh, that little intro that I just played. So I was telling you guys during the last week's live stream that I've been working on the Watts family tragedy documentary for a lot. Well, I put one out, a part 1 and part 2, a couple years ago, and I think it's good. I definitely stand by it, but I've definitely learned a lot about making videos and, accessing content and editing content and including content and about what it is you guys are interested in seeing as it pertains to this case. So this is totally different than those. It's just going to be in one part, one piece, and it's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. I've been working on it for almost a year. I mean, well, really longer than that, but I've been putting it together consciously for about a year. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to let you guys pick the intro. So the intro that just played there in the very beginning is option number 1. I'm going to put out 4 different intros over the next couple of weeks and let you guys pick. And that will be the official Discovery, not the official Discovery intro. Discovery's been out for quite a few years. The official for this channel Watts family tragedy documentary. So did I see Molson Man? Did I see someone say Molson Man? I think I did. So I hope so. Hey, Molson Man, how's it going? I haven't seen you in quite a while. It's so nice to see you. And hey, Kevin, how's it going? Sherry, my girl, how's it going? Oh, we never got back to try your phone, but I am so sorry I had to. That one, we've emailed about that. We're good, Sherry. We'll talk later. And Kent Valley, welcome. How are you doing? Hey, Private Eye, how's it going? Wilson Man, once again. Hi, Sherry K. So we've got Sherry P and Sherry K. Hey, Stevie, how are you doing? Welcome. Nice to see you. And let me just scroll down a bit. Hey, Midge Elkins, my friend. So great to see you. Welcome to all of the moderators. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Cyber Sleuth, how are you doing? Cyber Sleuth says, hey, y'all. Waiting and melting here in the desert. Oh my gosh, where are you? I am here in upstate New York and it is freaking hot. That's been like the conversation of the day. Oh my God, the humidity and heat sweltering, but you know, definitely not used to the desert. Let us know where you're coming from. Let us all of y'all, let us know where you are coming from. Hey, Bubba's great to see you. And let's see, I'm going to start scrolling down here. Kent Valley, I think I said hello, but I'm going to say hello again. Hey, Brooke Pope, how's it going? Nice to see you too, my friend. And Jeffrey Erickson, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Where is he now? Are you talking about Chris Watts or somebody else? I'm going to try to figure out who you're asking about. And Miss J, if only you knew, welcome. Miss J coming from the UK. And Swedish Mom, how's it going? Nice to see you, my friend. And George, or is it Jorge, or is it George? Let me know. Colin. The whole story really shook me up. Oh my gosh, no doubt about it. You know, in that little intro that I just played, it was, you know, the first little news clip there was a news clip that aired before, you know, it was even learned what happened to Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, and of course, unborn baby Nico in those very first few days when the family was just missing. And I was going back and putting things together for this documentary and watching that, you know, at this point, it seems like ancient footage from those first days before anyone even knew what happened. It was really quite stunning. And let's see. Riff Raff, welcome. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Hey, Karen, welcome. How's it going? Let's see. Who else? Hey, Mia, how's it going? Nice to see you. Hey, Green Eyes, how's it going? Welcome. How are you doing? And I'm going to keep scrolling down. If I missed anyone, I'm so sorry about that. It absolutely was not intentional. Please don't take it as such. Just say hello. I'll try to catch you back. Let's see. So John Wayne, welcome. How are you doing? John Wayne says, was she there? She at least knew about it. Talking to him for 2 hours the morning of and pinging near his house for the morning. Yeah, that's what most of us here are saying. I am with you on that. Definitely, for sure. Hey, Garden Girl, how are you doing? Garden Girl says, hey, Kelly, I'm hoping that you could update us on the Watts house and what's going on with the sale. If you have any info on the family and why they moved out. Oh man, I did a couple live streams where I talked about that, but maybe we'll touch on that briefly here. Yeah, because I actually did have some info about that, but that's a good question. Hey, Stevie again, how are you doing? Stevie says the official Discovery intro is NK cyber stalking. Well, yeah, really it is. Yes, it is, isn't it? Hey, Jennifer, welcome. How are you doing? Hey, Thunder Chick, how are you doing? Welcome. And let's see, Puster Baby, welcome. How are you doing? And I'm going to keep scrolling. Hoping I'm not missing anyone. Sherry K and Sherry P, think for yourself. Hey, how's it going, my friend? And Justice A through Z, wonderful to see you, ladies. How are you doing? It was the hurt that made me, oh gosh, I know, let's not even. Some of those great quotes that we can pull out of that, right? Okay. So, well, I hope you guys are all doing well. Happy Friday. I am so glad you guys are here. And again, thank you for the little bit of a late start. As I was telling you, oh, there's some flashing police lights going down my street. Strange. I live in a pretty quiet street. My best friend was visiting from a couple states away, and you know, she just got here a little later this evening, so we just had some dinner and she just settled in, so I wasn't able to start until about 10:30 Eastern. So yes, and if you could please take a moment and hit the like so more of our friends get the notification and hopefully are welcomed on in here with us. So well, gosh, it was last Friday I was telling you guys that the deception detective, friend of this channel, one of our favorite channels, who had just recently done an analysis using, he's an attorney trained in statement analysis, so using his method of statement analysis, had gone through a significant portion of the interview with Nichol Kessinger from August 16th, 2018, right after it happened. It was the second interview she did. She did the FBI interview on August 15th, 2 days after the murders. And then she did that first CBI interview on August 16th, 2.5, 3 days after the murder. And he did a great analysis of that. So as of last week, he had done his first part. I've been waiting for him to do this. I'm so excited about this, of his analysis using statement analysis of the Chris Watts prison interview, which is the most complete and thorough. It's really the third of his confessions. I think it's the closest to the truth that we have. And just yesterday, he put out he put out another video where he analyzed another section of it. So, I mean, he's already up to over 20,000 views right now. These people have been waiting for this, I believe, just like myself. So he says once he gets up to 50,000 views, which is really smart for him to do, he'll do another video on that. So let me just tease that a little bit. Let's just listen to a little bit of what he had to say in analyzing Chris Watts' prison interview in February of 2019, when Tammy Lee from the CBI, Graham Coder from the FBI, and Dave Baumhover, the detective from the Frederick Police Department, went to Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin 3 months after Chris Watts was sentenced to interview him to find out more about what he had done. And Sherry, my girl, thank you so much for the super chat. You are just too kind. Thank you so much for your support of myself and this channel. And we always love that you're here, Sherry. We're going to get you up on the live stream sometime soon. Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. We love you. Swedish Mom says, Kelly, it's Saturday at 4:50 a.m. Oh my gosh. Geez, I'm so sorry for those of you in Europe. I guess that is a really kind of awkward hour for you. And I'm sorry about that. But I usually do go on a little later in Friday evenings, but not usually this late. But thank you for being here. And what are you doing up at 4:50? If you're not able to sleep, I'm glad that you're with us. If you're getting ready for work, I hope that you're getting ready to start a good day. So let me just bring this into the stream, and let's just listen to a little bit of the Deception Detective and what he did. He did his magic again just yesterday. If you're not subscribed, definitely go subscribe to the Deception Detective. He uses his method of statement analysis, which he's clearly highly trained in, on a number of true crime cases, and analyzing a lot of the statements that suspects or criminals or, I don't know, people having to do with crime, statements that we've wondered about for years and years. He's got it all on his channel.
And they haven't picked up on it. Is Chris Watts a master manipulator, a victim of manipulation, or both? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in state.
Whoops, I'm sorry. I didn't bring that into the stream yet. Sorry, I started playing it, but it wasn't in the stream. So let me just bring that into the stream so you can actually hear it and see it. And then we'll be good to go. Oh, you know what? I think I just had the wrong view on. That's okay. Here we go. Welcome to those of you who are coming in. Thank you so much for being here, moderators, members, subscribers. People are new. We're so glad you're here. Welcome. Come on in. Everyone, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't. Your comment there. I can't wait to read it in just a minute here. There we go.
To evade their questions. He's been doing it for the past couple minutes. Picked up on it. Is Chris Watts a master manipulator, a victim of manipulation, or both? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exposes lies and manipulation. Today we'll analyze a rare 2019 interview for signs that Chris Watts is a master manipulator, a victim of manipulation, or both. This interview was uploaded by a friend of the channel, Watts the Obsession.
Hey.
To continue this series, let's get this video to 50,000 views, or you can become a channel member and vote on who we analyze next in my member poll. The link to join is also in the description. Without further ado, let's listen.
She's a completely new type of person and relationship. Yeah. Okay. All right. What were you thinking this whole time? Like,
In the back of my head, I was telling myself, "What are you doing?" Like, every time, I open up my phone, I can see pictures like of my wife and my kids. I'm just like, "What am I doing?" And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like like a blinder that was on my face.
Oh,
And it was like every time I look back on it, like, like I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself. And like every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say like I have like this book I used to read for CC, and I remember that book. So I read that to them like every night. And like there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them. So I just try to think back. Like I wish this never happened. It was just like I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, wasn't in my eyes. That would have seen what was going on. Like, I was having everybody said, "Oh, you're just out there having fun while your kids, or kids and wife are on vacation." I'm just like, no, it wasn't like that. But it seemed like that's
In part one of my Chris Watts analysis, I determined that he exhibited enough psychopathic traits to be treated as one. Even though I can't personally diagnose him because I'm not a clinician. For example, you'll notice here how he takes zero responsibility for anything he did with Nichol because he had these blinders on. He also shows no remorse for what he did or empathy for those who are still hurting because of it, like Shanann's relatives. This video isn't about whether he is or isn't a
Well, I am a behavioral therapist, and many of you are things that aren't behavioral therapists or deception detective. You're just people with common sense that are able to perceive what others are up to. And I think a lot of us here, I know definitely myself, absolutely positively agrees with the deception detective's analysis on all of that. His lack of empathy, his always blaming other people. Chris Watts, in the hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of interview tape that we have of him talking, he not one time accepts responsibility for what he's done. And that is remarkable. I mean, when he's really pushed to it in this prison interview, when Graham Coder, I think he does a really good job questioning him in this interview. I think he's the best questioner by far. Well, of him and Tammy Lee. Sorry, Tammy Lee. It's, nothing personal. I just think Graham Coder's a better questioner of Chris Watts. When he really gets down to it and he forces the answer out of him, he makes him take responsibility for what he does because he really gives him no way out. There's no wiggle room when he's asking about what happened to Shanann, what happened to Bella, what happened to Celeste. But if he's not pushed to the limit in that regard with that much expertise, he will not take any accountability, any responsibility of his own.
psychopath. Instead, in this video, I want to point out the techniques he uses to manipulate people into seeing him as a victim. Because even if he hasn't fooled you or me, he is a master manipulator. And these tactics are common with manipulators you're likely to encounter in your own life.
what it looks like. When you're going, you're going to camping, going to drag race, going all the other stuff that you have fun doing with somebody else. It's not your family. It just didn't seem right. With her, it just didn't seem like I could even see that anymore. I was there at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about anything. Because literally I didn't, I was only at home from when I got home from work. I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over to her house. I never slept in my house the whole month of July.
Now, talking through that though, when you said you went home and then you were at her house, was that while Shanann was gone? Oh, okay. So you weren't even at your house.
No.
This all happened so quickly, didn't it?
It was insane. I didn't she even told me she would never in a normal relationship, she would never have somebody over at her house more than once or twice a week, but she felt like she wanted me over there.
Yeah.
She said she felt comfortable over there.
Yeah.
So it's that's what was different. She wanted me over there. But
She wanted me there. Notice how Chris subtly shifts all the blame for him sleeping at Nichole's house onto Nichol, as if he had zero say in the matter. This manipulation tactic appropriately is known as blame shifting. And the most common example is when kids get caught doing something wrong and they say, well, mom, dad, everyone was doing it.
Okay, so that is the deception detective. Again, this is his second video analyzing Chris Watts' interview from prison, from Dodge Correctional Facility, when the 3 investigators went out there to visit him to learn more about what the hell happened and why, because the whole world is still wanting to understand this. Now, let's see. Private Eye makes a good comment here saying, I like Deception Detective, but in my opinion, too much behavioral analysis and not enough focus on the unexplained things like the fresh sand on the grave on Wednesday morning when it rained on Tuesday and Chris Watts being followed after Monday. Well, this is a really good point you make here because, Deception Detective will certainly come out and say himself that he is only using statement analysis. In fact, I know with this case, at least when he was working on the Nichol Kessinger interview material, he was intentionally not looking into all of those facts that we are always analyzing and pulling apart and picking apart and studying ourselves because he wanted to just use the technique of statement analysis. And I think there's something good about that. And I think there's something really good about keeping that pure the way he did. But I do understand what you're saying. So as I always like to also be responsive to what you guys are talking about in chat, this happens to be a topic that has come up a lot lately about the weather at CERVI 319 on, the relevant days and the days that Private Eye is mentioning specifically. So I happened to put out a video a few months ago about, let's see, what was it called? I'm just going to play a little bit of it here because I want to address that since we're on it. And it's something up. Chris Watts, what happened is 19. And I did, take the liberty of getting the historical and historical weather data from those dates. And here it is. So let's take a look at that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to pull back to here. And then we're going to go into Nichol Kessinger's statements through the discovery timeline and also her Google searches, what you do and don't know.
The full capacity of these tanks is somewhere between 600 and 700 barrels. That's a lot. So let's just say nearly full, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And, the strange thing to me is openly available, you can find the production rate of that well. And at its best, it was producing about 200 barrels per month. So it leads me to believe that, the oil probably wasn't completely drained out by whoever put the girls in these tanks. They probably shifted the liquids from one tank over to the other one, opened, put it in, and then shifted the liquids back to the other side. That requires quite a bit of technical knowledge, and it does take a certain amount of time.
And let me stop you there.
Operation.
So I do just want to pin this again, just because, because I really do like the Deception Detective. Justice A3C says DT did an analysis of NK that was not very thorough. He hadn't really studied the case, and it was obvious in my opinion. But I just want to say that was like his whole thing. In using statement analysis, as you can imagine, it arguably, and I think, the science of it, it is said to be, it is proclaimed to be better to not have all of that extra background information in your head when you're just using statement analysis, which is what he proposes to do. So he does do exactly what he proposes to do. You know what I mean? So I do just want to say that. And I think he does a good job of it.
Because that was my next question. Obviously, that drill site producing only 200 barrels a month is not going to be able in 4 days, that's the time it took to find the bodies, to fill even one of those tanks up to 600-700 barrels. It would take 3 months to fill them naturally. So just thinking that through, if in fact the opening on the top, and again I'll hold it up, is too small for Chris Watts to, as he apparently according to the police admitted, too small for him to put those children through, he would have had to do it from the bottom, which means the tank would have had to be empty, or he'd have been gushed on by a full tank of oil. So you're saying that there's a pump that goes between those two tanks, and he could pump one tank empty and put the, now there's the thief hatch, and I think that's your hand, Wesley, correct? Right next to the thief hatch at the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so we get a relative
that's my
size.
hand to give you scale. Yeah.
And that's at the top.
Yeah,
this is
so
an
they
example
do
tank that's similar.
Yeah, that's part of what kind of bent my brain is, I really don't think you could easily get anything, and it's designed that way for you to not drop anything through that top hatch. They keep it very small, so 8 inches is quite small. That's what made me think you pretty much have to take that bottom manway open, and the standard design, there's 64 bolts, and you got to drain all of the liquids out to really you know,
We have a picture of that. Put the
let all the
picture up of the
fluids out.
bottom manway, because Wesley's also given us an example photo of this tank where he is standing next to the manway. This is the actual site. What I'd like now is the example site of the manway that Wesley shows us, if we can show that. It's called the clean out manway. There it is. And you can see Wesley's hand. Now you can see the relative size of that opening and all those bolts that would have to be opened, unscrewed and screwed back on. And clearly it is at the bottom of the tank. So it's going to have to be that tank's going to have to be literally dry. But Wesley, just in terms of the time, because Chris Watts was seen leaving his house at 5:30 in the morning, and he had to have some kind of an alibi to be working by 7:30, 8:30, or 9:30 in the morning. So there were not, and it's 45 minutes to drive there. So he didn't have an inordinate amount of time at this site to dig a shallow grave for his wife and then do all this work at these two oil tanks. How much time does it take to pump the oil between the tanks? It can't be the same as that forensic vacuum.
No, and I think you could probably do that within an hour, more or less, depending on how full the tanks were.
The drive. Okay, so that's a question. You know what? I'm going to put up a viewer poll right now, because this is a question that always fascinates me, and I'm going to let you know what I think after I'll weigh in on the poll here. Do you think, if you know the timeline, and we can take a look at that really quickly because we're going to be looking at the discovery timeline, do you think that Chris Watts had enough time to do what needed to be done on his own? Yes or no? If you're not sure, hold out on weighing in. I'm going to pop the question up right now as we continue to watch this.
From the Watts residence at 2825 Saratoga Trail to CERVI 319, that tragic morning took Chris Watts a little bit over an hour. And the first part of the drive is on Colorado Highway, and the second half of the drive is in beginning to be desolate area, and then the end of the drive, almost the last quarter of the drive, is completely desolate without a single site, a building or person in sight for miles. It's an incredibly eerie trip. The journey from Frederick, Colorado to Rogan, Colorado is about 37.5 miles and is estimated to take about 42 minutes. Rogan is a very isolated, very small community. In fact, the population is only about 440 people, and the size of Rogan is also very small. It's only 1.4 square miles, mostly spanning this vast, vast country land. It is, of course, an agricultural community right there in the community itself, although many residents of Rogan commute to wherever it is they go during the day, and that average commute is almost 30 miles. These are some of the actual dwellings that you can see in Rogan, and a lot of the property there, a lot of the buildings or houses are actually abandoned. There is a big production here, and these almost look like the oil tanks, but they're not. This is a wheat production center, and it's part of the agricultural center that basically is Rogan, Colorado. People who live there and in that area say that the weather can be changing. It can go from very, sunny and dry to very windy and treacherous. And
so this is describing the conditions in the terrain out in CERVI 319 and the area around CERVI 319, where Chris Watts so disrespectfully discarded his whole family.
It's seemingly a matter of moments, and because there's so little buildings, population, or anything going on other than this vast Colorado prairie land, you can look out your window or look east or look west and actually see where the weather is changing. So have you ever been in a place where it's nice and sunny and you look in one direction and you can see a storm or brewing? So people that live there claim that it's very much like that, but, amplified to what I think my experience is. Now, keep in mind that after you travel that 37 plus miles from Frederick, Colorado to Rogan, CERVI 319 is 9 miles past Rogan, Colorado from where Chris Watts was traveling. And those roads are all dirt roads, or just, as they're described in the discovery, 2-track roads, which really means backcountry roads that really nobody travels. And you're not probably going to get very far on them unless you're driving a truck.
So this is the actual drive from Frederick, Colorado, part of it to CERVI 319, haunting.
Yeah, let's do it. Do a little hair. Ready? Set.
Cece, what's
Cece,
Daddy
I
doing?
am so sorry. When you're
Okay, so let's turn to the weather at CERVI 319 on August 13th.
So Private Eye, this is you here. So this is what I was getting at, and this is the historical weather information for the relevant days. I cross-referenced. I did a lot of research on this. This is the best information that you can get on this.
August 14th, 2018. First of all, I can assure you that there was no precipitation on Monday, August 13th, 2018. But I just want to get to where we actually have something going on here. But there's no precipitation on Monday, August 13th. So let's take a look at Tuesday, August 14th, 2018. So you can see here that during the day from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. to noon, and all the way going up until just a little bit after 6 o'clock, there is no precipitation at all. And the temperatures were low, as you would expect during the morning hours, spiked from 12 going up to about 3 p.m., and then slowly declined in the evening, just as you'd expect. Now we see the spike. So you can see the blue line, that's precipitation. So we have a spike at 7 p.m. and then a decline and then another little spike at 8 p.m. So we can see that there was a decent amount of precipitation at 7 p.m. and then continuing for a while and a little more again at 8 p.m. Okay, so if you look at this next chart here, you're going to see that after the 6 o'clock hour, there were heavy thunderstorms being reported in the Rogan area. Now, these were heavy thunderstorms without any noted precipitation. So if you look at 6:53 p.m. and you look all the way over to the right-hand side, you'll see 0.3 inches of rain. And then again, we have another 0.1 inches, and that is our rain event for Tuesday, August 14th. So another thing that is interesting here is how they note the wind speed. So you'll notice at 6:42 p.m., there's a sustained wind of 38 miles per hour. And prior to that, we had sustained winds of 17 miles an hour, 23 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 18, 13, and 17, respectively. Now, for a sustained wind, that's quite a wind, and 38 miles an hour sustained wind is pretty significant. If you look to the column just to the right of that, you will see that while there were those sustained 38 mile per hour winds, there were gusts up to 53 miles an hour. In summary, the following is the weather for August 13th and August 14th, Monday and Tuesday of 2018. The weather was collected in Kinsburg. That is the closest.
So this is a summary for the weather on Monday and Tuesday, August 13th and Tuesday, August 14th. Yeah.
This historical weather data collection center. It is approximately 1.7 miles from CERVI Ranch. Historical weather records indicate no rain on Monday, August 13th, and moderate rain, 0.3 inches, on Tuesday, August 14th, 2018. These moderate rain continued for 30 minutes to 90 minutes and was followed by some sprinkles, shall we say. The winds were perhaps the more significant event, with moderate sustained wind from the hours of 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., with strong gusts of wind up to 53 miles per hour. And why is discussing what happened at CERVI that day important, and what's going on at CERVI and the drive to CERVI and all of that? Well, there's a few things. There's different theories on what really happened that day, and I absolutely believe we do not know the full truth as of right now. So the weather on the 13th and 14th very much relate to those theories. They can possibly prove or disprove some of the theories. And also, something that is very important is understanding the experience of the human beings on that day. If Bella and Cece, Chris Watts, two beautiful little girls, were in fact alive on that trip from Frederick, Colorado to CERVI 319, this journey of over an hour in the back of that truck must have been absolutely horrifying. So now let's take a look at the recovery efforts.
Yeah, such a hard thing to think about. And welcome on the case with Jeannie. Hey, Double R, how are you doing? Everybody else who came in. Yeah, and everybody, please do hit like. I'd really appreciate it. The more of our friends get the notifications, come on in and have a chat with us. So the question I wanted to put up in the survey for you is, do you think that Chris Watts had enough time while he was there at CERVI 319 to do what we know was done on his own? But I figure before we take a look at that, it's better to all get on the same page and have the facts about what that timing is. So if we look here at the discovery, we can determine that. Hey guys, welcome. Come on in. Nice to see y'all. Yes, and please do click the like. Thank you so much. We can see that here is a timeline of Chris Watt's work truck from oh gosh, what's it called? That system that is in Chris Watt's work truck. Why can't I think of what it's called right now? I don't want to scroll up because I'm going to lose my page. But somebody's telling me in chat. I know you are, and I'll get back to it in a minute. So we see that Chris Watts left his house, and it's pretty small here, so I'm just going to read this out to you. It's the Monday morning, of course, at 5:46 and 21 seconds a.m. He then arrives at CERVI 319 at 6:53 and 57 seconds a.m. So we're going to call that 6:54, okay? Just 3 seconds shy of 6:54. It took him 47 minutes to get there. 47 horrifying minutes for what I believe were for Bella. So knowing that Chris Watts gets to CERVI 319 at 6:54, in order for us to get an understanding of the amount of time that he had to do, you know, what was done at CERVI 319. Let me go ahead and make that a little bigger for you. You don't need to see me there. Just get a good look at that. Geotag. Thank you, Mandy K. Welcome, my friend. How are you doing? And anyone else who's at Geotag. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin is our official. And Kevin, if you want to come up, I'm going to put the link for you, Kevin, if you do want to come up. Kevin has come up before as a guest, an expert on the oil fields. He has experience working in that environment, not specifically at CERVI 319, I don't think, but he's pretty awesome. If you do want to come up, Kevin, I'm going to post that link just for you right now. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so knowing that Chris Watts did get there at 6:54 a.m., we can take a quick look at the discovery timeline. Oops, let me just change my my earbuds are running out. So let me just change my volume input here, my sound input here, so everything stays continuity. You know, I don't know what the word is. Okay, so let's drop down to the timeline. I think I know where that is pretty well. Get down right to where you know, Chris Watts would be at CERVI 319 on morning of August 13th, 2018. So he arrives at CERVI 319 at 6:54 a.m. All right, let me see what date we're on here. Just for the sake of scrolling, I'm going to minimize that a little bit. And all right, Dave Funk Minerals, all that. Okay. So funny how we get to know these documents so well, right? Oh, we talked about that doll a lot during, what was it, the last live stream? Oh, that doll, the damn doll. Okay, August 10th. And, all right, I have to kind of slow scroll here, or I'm going to go right past it. We're on August 12th here, and we just hit 13th. Yeah, so August 13th. Okay, so we know that Chris Watts arrived at CERVI 319 at 6:54 a.m., right? We just saw that. So now we're looking at the early morning hours here of Monday, August 13th, when Shanann arrived home, when her plane landed, when she got home, when the Vivid alert picked her up coming home. Okay, so now it's 6:29 a.m. before he arrived at CERVI 319. The discovery says Watts made 3 unanswered calls to Roberts. He was probably sweating bullets, wanting to know who was there, what was going on, and, you know, was anyone going to be there if he got there when he got there? And he was certainly hoping not. 6:31, he sent a message to Roberts, Cody Roberts, saying, "Where are you at?" 6:32, Cody Roberts replies, "Just got fuel in Kersey." And then at 6:32, Watts made an unanswered call to Cody Roberts. So, oops. Oh, it's breaking up? Okay, hold it. Okay. Oh, okay. The sound is bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. Okay, just one second. Did it just start doing that, guys? Sorry about that. All right, give me 1 second. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see, I'll go back to that. Is that better? It's better now, Mia? Thank you, sweetheart. Okay. And Kevin, I see you backstage. It says devices not connected. So maybe drop down and try to come back up, because I'd love to have you come back up. It was when I changed. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. You're the best. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll stick with that. Okay, so Kevin, you're backstage, but it says devices not connected. So you have to drop back down, try to come back up. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I was just going through, you know, what Chris did before he got to CERVI 319. So we know that he got there at 6:54 a.m. So he's a whole lot of back and forth to Cody Roberts, trying to, you know, make sure nobody's going to be there, right? And there's a whole lot of back and forth to Cody Roberts again. What I'm really interested in is what happened after he got there. I'm going to keep scrolling down. Okay, so this is the first entry we see after Chris Watts arrived at CERVI 319, which is 6:59 a.m. Says Roberts told Watts, "Guess I'm headed out that way to start up the 1029, and Chad will be meeting me out there." Watts replied, "Okay." So at this point, you know, Watts has only been there for 5 minutes. He knows by this response from Cody Roberts that he's got a little bit of time, because it appears as though Cody Roberts is going to the 1029 first, right? So now the next entry is at 7:18 a.m. So this is doodly-doo, 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 doodly-doo. I'm doing some math in my head. This is 24 minutes after Watts arrived at CERVI 319. So 24 minutes after he got to CERVI 319, the only thing he did so far, as far as phone activity, is read a message from Cody Roberts and then said, okay. And then it says he took a photograph of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck. Now, the note here says metadata confirms Watts was at the CERVI coordinates. The image is apparently only in thumbnail format, and enlarging it blurs out the writing on the laptop screen. Many have speculated. I personally think it has to do with the levels in the tanks. We don't know that, though. So now we go to 7 a.m., 7:40. It says, Watts sent the staged message to Shanann's phone. If you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at. Okay, so between when Chris Watts arrived at 6:54 a.m. to 7:40, okay, so that's 46 minutes. The only thing that Chris did as far as phone activity was to take one picture and to respond to one text message saying, okay. Then at 7:40, he made that staged text to Shanann. And then at 7:40 also, he made a 2.5-minute call to Troy McCoy. And then at 7:41, there's more activity. So, you know, this staged message to Shanann at 7:40, followed by the 2.5-minute phone call to Troy McCoy, I think we can safely say that ends the period of time that Chris Watts was doing what needed to be done with his family, sadly, at CERVI 319. So based on that, I wanted to show you this before I put out the question. We know that Chris Watts had, are you kidding me, Emma? Was I not sharing that with you? No, I am. Okay. We know that Chris Watts had 46 minutes. So that's what we're working with. All right. So now I'm going to put that poll question up. And I'd love for all of you guys to answer it. We know that he had 46 minutes of time. So given that, do you think that Chris Watts had enough time to do what he did on his own at CERVI 319? I'm going to put that up there right now. Just give me one moment. Chris had 46 uninterrupted. Can I spell that? I'm going to try. Let's see. Spell check. Blessing. Minutes at CERVI 319. Is that enough time for him to do what was done on his own? All right, so that's going to be the question. And I'm going to come back and see if you're available for us, Kevin. My question is too long, by just a couple words. Chris had 46, because I don't need uninterrupted, but you just know that. All right. All right, there we go. All right, very good. So, all right, Kevin, I'll be looking for you to see if you are going to be coming back up, okay? Let's see. Hey, Pink, my friend, how are you doing, sweetheart? Loco Jessan says that ThriveShare is a miracle product. Yeah, I've done some videos on that too. I tried that whole bit as part of researching this case. So have a lot of other people. If you're interested in that, we can talk about it sometime, or you can go back and check out those videos. Let's see. Yeah, that text at 7:40 couldn't be more bogus. Yeah, true that. Yeah. Think for Yourself says, and Think for Yourself is somewhat of an expert on this case. Think for Yourself has a channel. She covered the Watts case way back when, way before Watts the obsession was even a thought in my mind. And Think for Yourself says, dead weight is extremely difficult to lift or carry. There's no way he did all that in that amount of time, especially after allegedly moving Shanann once already. Yeah. Oh, all good, Kevin. That's okay. Maybe next time, maybe we can schedule it. I would love for you to come up sometime. Yeah. And the audio is okay right now, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So just give me 1 second here. Oh, there we go. That's better. All right, let me just get a couple other comments and then we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Hey, NP Love, how are you doing? Welcome. Hey, Tracy Whittle, how's it going? And then Private Eye said to think for yourself and the rest of us. And if he carried her from the truck to where he left her wrapped in the bed sheet, there's no way he wouldn't bury her in it too. Why would he leave the sheet out? I mean, yeah, that is a really kind of crazy question, isn't it? Awesome. Pink is getting out of work and listening to driving. Awesome. You have a theory. Think for yourself. Would you like to come up too? I wanted to invite you up also. So I'm going to put the link here if you would like to come up as well. I invited you up last time and you're your friends. You're always welcome to come up. I would always love to hear what you have to say. You're clearly a very good thinker based on your videos and comments here, of course. Right. Loco Jazz Hand says he sure was efficient that day. Justice A through Z says, I don't even think he could dig that hole in 46 minutes. You know, and this is a topic that has been discussed a whole lot. There's even disagreements between people who have been out there about what the consistency of the ground was like. It seems that, you know, and I think this is why the very disrespectful, shallow grave that Chris Watts deposited his beautiful wife in after he took the life out of her was as shallow as it was. We know from people that have gone out there, such as, oh my gosh, Mexi and Robbie, and who else was out there? Was it True Psych Ward? I can't remember who from out there was out there, and perhaps maybe Vanessa from, I'm not sure, but some of those people, and I'm so sorry if I'm missing the right people, went out there. You know, they, you know, kind of tested out the ground for us, and it looks like, you know, on the top, it's very, you know, it's very dry. It seems very light. It just kind of sits through your fingers. But then as soon as you dig down a little, it's like rock hard, right? So I think it would be, at first it might be like, oh, this is going to be an easy dig. But as soon as you get your shovel really in the ground there, it proved to be something different. Think for yourself said to Private Eye, same reason why you leave the rake handle there. Tell us, think for yourself. Tell us. And Cherry says to think for yourself, to cover for the other people, because he may have been told that he would get help not going to prison, but he was lied to, possibly, or his family was threatened. Just my opinion from Sherry K. Mia says, not enough time. Sherry says, I think about Think for Yourself. Her channel is great. Yeah. Everyone go check it out. See, now I tend to agree with Cyber Sleuth, or I just read the first sentence of Cyber Sleuth here, but I tend to agree more with this. But I mean, I certainly do not proclaim to know for sure, but I'm just thinking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I am like this physically. I'm like this energetically with like work, whether it's physical work or paperwork or whatever. I freaking go until I get her done, you know, but not everyone's like that. And there's a lot of other factors, of course, going on. But I feel like, I know. But let's see. Cyber Sleuth says 46 minutes, plenty of time to do everything by himself. I believe he took Bella's life, put the girls in top of tank, scratches on Bella, then buried his wife. He was in shape, so no problem. See, I tend to agree with that, Cyber Sleuth. But, you know, all of the talk that we could be doing back and forth or debating here, you know, unless we're, you know, going out there and doing a real challenge, which I would never support in this channel because that would just be in bad taste. But you know what I mean? If we were going through the same physical rigmarole and challenges that were posed on that day, you know, we could maybe say with greater certainty, but this is a lot of just theorizing, you know? Hey, Victoria, how are you doing? Hey, honey bun, how are you doing? Oh, I hope your migraine's feeling better. Poor girl. Those are terrible. Now we have to be careful on that topic just because of recent things talking about, and we always want to be respectful of victims' families. I do want to say, and I don't know what that is, but we just got to be careful there. Let's see. Miranda Cortez, welcome. How are you doing, dear? Says, I'm torn, but I believe one of the girls was already unalived. I believe that too, Miranda. So that would have given him more time to do what he did, sadly. That's my thinking as well. Yeah, and I believe that was Cece. I think that Bella, so sadly, breaks my freaking heart, like in a way I can't even articulate, to think that Bella endured that like terrifying drive that we just saw to CERVI 319 on her own. Private Eye says, law enforcement said that the hatch was just too small. Chris said the hole was double the size that law enforcement suggested to him. If he struggled to get them in, then bodily fluids would be present, not just hair. Yeah. I don't know. Kevin, this is when Kevin, our expert, would be great here, because Kevin has explained to us before. Oh, hey, Nancy Ann. Oh. No, it's the other one, Nance. Nancy Ann is with us. She's just not in chat right now. I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. We'll talk later. Kevin, I believe this was you, right, Kevin? Kevin has explained when we had this conversation before. And again, Kevin, who's here in chat right now, is an expert in the oil fields. He's worked in that environment with this equipment, and says, when the question comes up about them not being able to fit through the beef hatch, through those, super small opening. And Kevin has explained to us, think of, when you are, and I know this is, this is like an analogy that we can come up with in the real world, right? We're not trying to be disrespectful. Think of when you're trying to, you have a shirt with a stiff collar and you're trying to put it, on a hanger, and the way you kind of, would work that hanger, the shape, into that small hole that would be, like the neckline of, like, say a starched up button up shirt, buttoned right up to the tippy top. And then you kind of like finagle an object through a space that might not seem like it was meant for it. I don't know. Yeah. So Riffraff says, can't decide, but if he was hyped up and in trauma, he could move really fast. I think that as well, because I do believe that he was in some kind of a state of shock. And, for what that's going to look like for any individual person is different from person to person, from individual to individual, from event to event. And so that is a variable that we really don't have a grasp on. And then Justice A through Z says to think for yourself. Well, then why? So why just think for yourself, believe the rake and cheat were left? Cheryl Davenport says, I think that substances gave him more power than his physicality. I think that's very possible as well. Amanda Kane, I think I understand what you're saying here, says maybe Chris Watt's wrong info or absence of knowledge is because it wasn't him dealing with it directly. It was his help doing more of stuff with the girls. Or I just think, when people say that he estimated the hole to be 2 times as big as it actually was, well, that's our estimate of us watching him making his estimate. But when it comes down to it, anything that Chris Watts expressed verbally or non-verbally during that kind of interrogation portion of the interview before he was arrested, I can't hang my hat on any of it because it was so much bogus, right? So think for yourself that CC was 11 inches, which means Bella would have been even bigger from shoulder to shoulder. The hatch was only 8 inches. Again, you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. So this is the conversation that we have had before when Kevin, our, oil field and equipment expert who's in chat right now, has actually been up here and he explained to us, and this always just really sticks with me, Kevin. This was such a great explanation that idea of, of fitting, a shirt with, a small, neckline and a starchy, stiff neckline, and then putting it on a hanger or something like that, Hey, Guilty of Crime, how are you doing? Everybody, if you have not been to Guilty of Crime's channel, Jay, friend of this channel, is here, and her channel is amazing. I would definitely go check her out. She says, just showing love to you, Kelly. What's the obsession is all. Thanks. Is the best. What's knowledge around. Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hi, Marisol. How are you? Marisol says, in my opinion, besides Chris being involved, is Jim and Troy. Ooh, that's a big group. That's a conglomerate. Oops, let's see here. So, oh gosh, am I going to say this right? Unfastbar. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, and I probably am, but thank you for being here. I'm going to read your comment. Not enough time to bury his wife and unalived kids and expose all, in my humble opinion. Shanann's grave would have had to have been prepared. I often monitor myself on completing tasks in 45 minutes. Oh, well, that's some valuable information there. Hi, Matt. Welcome. How are you doing? Is that Matt? Old school Matt? Losing audio again? Oh, no. All right. Hold up, guys. Give me just 1 second, okay? Okay. All right. How's this? Okay. Microphone. Okay, is that better, guys? Give me some feedback. Let me know if the audio is better. Is the audio better? Yes, Sherry? Sorry about that. Okay, I just had to make an adjustment on my settings here. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to pull the last 2 or 3 comments I have here. AKA says, I think it's possible that Cece was carried out the back along with Shanann during the night by someone else. There were no shadows of 2 children, only one. Yeah, that's what I saw too. I think Bella made that trip alone with CW. Heartbreaking. Private Eye says, there are some newspaper articles about toxic fumes from similar hatches on oil tanks. Can Kevin tell us if masks are needed if your face is close to an open hatch? Kevin, are you still here? And if you are, Kevin, could you tell us, do you have to wear a mask? If your face is up close to an open hatch, would it be absolutely necessary to wear a mask? Thank you, guys. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you. Let's see. Cypress Sleuth says, I've seen my kids maneuver themselves into places you'd never imagine, right? Panic could also make him feel it wasn't a choice one way or another if he was going to make them fit. Running out of time. Yeah. Then Think for Yourself says, in regards to that, I would imagine their injuries would have been more severe if he was somehow able to fit them in the tanks. Yikes. Oh, hey, Marco. Welcome. Marco's letting us know that this is the second Friday Night Live. He's been following the case for about 2 years. We'll definitely weigh in. Let us know what you think. I would love to hear what you think. Honeybun, welcome. Honeybun is a new member. Welcome, my girl. Welcome back. I think you're one of those. That's how I am with all of my channel memberships. I'm welcome back. Yeah, this was something that we have talked about extensively recently. Matt says, I think the kids most likely took their last breaths at home. Oops, I just lost that comment. see. Oh, the cadaver alerts indicating the presence of decomposition in the bedrooms. Yeah, there's a lot to be talked about than that, but I think at least Cece did for a number of reasons, but yeah. Okay, Kevin can't come up because his service isn't good enough right now, but we are so grateful that you answered this question anyway, Kevin. And I love you, Kevin. Kevin is priceless for a number of reasons. And he says, and no, you don't need masks. That happens to me sometimes with different channels too. My membership doesn't renew monthly. I don't know why. Maybe, or were you gifted one last month, Honey Bun? That might be why. If you get gifted a membership, it terminates at the end of that month. In private eye to you, Kevin says, thanks for the reply. And then Kevin also, to private eye's question, says, we work right by those hatches for 12-hour shifts. Wow. Thank you for that, Kevin. Cyber Slew says, to think for yourself, agree, but they were flexible due to them not being with us anymore. Very maneuverable, less likely. Yeah. Oh, such hard stuff to think about. Oh my gosh. Kevin says, I probably spent hundreds of hours on that platform, up on, the top of an oil battery container, like the ones there at CERVI 319. Watching the levels on the water. Kevin, do you think that the picture that we just read in the discovery that Chris Watts took of his laptop screen, most likely at 7:18, it was one of the two things that he did in that 46 minutes that he was at CERVI 319, other than attending to business that needed to be handled at the moment? Do you think it had something to do with the water levels in the oil tanks? We may have talked about this before, but oh gosh, Marco says, it boils my blood to have learned that Chris Watts was catching the Super Bowl in the privacy and comfort of his cell. I hadn't even heard that, but that boils my blood as well. Marco, you are not alone. My yikes. Oh yeah, please hit the like button if you haven't. Welcome to those of you who are coming in, and welcome. All right, so let's go to the discovery timeline here. And oh, you know what? I wanted to play you a little bit of a video. So when I was, planning to do this video, I was just thinking about talking about Nichol Kessinger's searches that we know about per the discovery, because there's some interesting things out there. I want to play you a little bit of this video. Now, this channel is called Morbid Minds, and it appears that this channel they posted some really great videos between 5 and 7 years ago, but have not posted any videos since 5 years ago. Let me see if that's correct here. I'm going to just check this out for you. And the link to their channel and to this video in the description, along with also Deception Detectives channel and video. These are the two videos I'll be showing it all. Yeah, it appears that between 5 and well, let me just show you what I'm looking at here so you can see what their channel offers as well. So again, this channel's called Morbid Minds. It looks like between 5 and 7 or 8 years ago, they posted a number of videos on a number of different crimes. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through here. Not taking too much time because some of the covers are a little bit graphic thumbnails, so we just want to be careful. YouTube tightens the reins over time, I believe. So you might want to check out their channel. But I do want to play you a little bit of a video from this channel called Morbid Minds. It has to deal with, in part, Nichol Kessinger's timeline per the discovery and some of her search items.
For Chris, my husband, and I deleted it. I had no interest in dating anyone. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I was working. I was goal-oriented. I was a dreamer. I'm always been a dreamer. I've always wanted everything in life to be perfect. So anyway, fast forward, in a dark place, all of a sudden I get a friend request from Chris. I said, what the heck? I'll never meet him. He's just a Facebook friend. I have a million of them. Nothing's going to come of it. Well, 2 weeks later, we finally meet on a blind date and ended up falling in love with him. And I believe things happen for a reason. Things are placed in our life to bring us to the next stage of our life, good and bad. We just have to take all of it with us. And I choose every day to wake up. I choose to put my makeup on. I choose to put a smile on my face because I am conquering my life, and nothing else is going to take my life away from me.
Thank you for the movie. Thank you for the first I see. Thank you, God, for everything. Amen.
Please pay attention to the following notice to ensure your viewing experience remains coherent. All case details provided in this documentary have been taken from the 2,000-page redacted case file pertaining to the investigation of Christopher Lee Watts, released to the public on November 21st, 2018 by the Weld County District Attorney's Office. In addition, we have also used other reputable media sources that have reported accurate information in regards to the case, of which can be and have been cross-referenced with the officially released case documents. Due to the wide coverage this story received, vast amounts of case information has been made public. After carefully reviewing all the available information, we have attempted to compress and produce the most robust documentation of the case as is possible. We have done our best to provide you with the most accurate timeline of events, whilst incorporating as much relevant information as possible. Running concurrent with the main story detailing the case, you will be shown periodic screenshots of personal phone records and internet data, which were obtained by authorities to assist them in their investigation. When these screenshots are displayed, we will provide you with a short summary of their content. However, please do pause the video and read them if necessary, as their content will allow you greater insight and perspective, as well as a glimpse into the private affairs of those involved. Lastly, before we proceed, we want to pay our deepest respects to the victims of this horrific crime, as well as our condolences to the mourning family and friends for their loss. May Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts rest in peace.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong.
In 2009, Shanann Catherine Ruzek and Christopher Lee Watts met in North Carolina after being introduced to each other by a mutual friend through Facebook. At the time, Shanann, who suffered from the autoimmune disease lupus, was struggling to control the symptoms of her disease and had been recovering from a recent divorce. This left her reluctant to pursue any other potential relationship so soon, but she ultimately decided to meet Christopher, and a relationship would eventually blossom between the couple. By 2011, Chris had proposed to Shanann, and the two were married on November 3, 2012. In 2013, the pair left North Carolina, where both their families resided, and relocated to Frederick, Colorado, where they initially stayed with their friends whilst their new residence was being built. By May of 2013, they had finally moved into their $400,000 suburban home, 2825 Saratoga Trail. Later that same year, on December 17th, Shanann gave birth to their first child, Bella Marie Watts, with the assistance of fertility medication. This was due to Shanann's lupus disease, as prior to their attempts, doctors warned Shanann that she may be unable to conceive naturally. By all accounts, Shanann and Chris were wonderful parents and worked hard to ensure their family would continue to flourish. Shanann had built a career in sales and was very efficient in her role, while Chris, a NASCAR college graduate, was a highly skilled mechanic. During this period, both Shanann and Chris worked at a Ford dealership located in Longmont, Colorado. That was until January 2015, when Chris landed a new job as a field coordinator at Anadarko Petroleum. Shanann had since too left her position at Ford and now worked in a call centre within a children's hospital. Within the same year, on July 17th,
Whoa, I'm seriously wondering if this is the right video. I feel like it's not getting off to the right start of information. Well, okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, I know we care about the biography of Shanann, of course, and Shanann and Chris and how they met, but many of us know that story. So I just want to get this information. And Kevin, I did find those pictures that you sent me. I'll bring those up in a minute, okay?
Within the company, internet records show that Nichol Kessinger, a fellow co-worker of Chris Watts at Anadarko Petroleum, searched the internet for the name Shanann Watts for the first recorded time on.
And now, as I've said many times, and I will keep saying it because I don't think that we can make a point of this enough, this is the very first item on the official Discovery timeline. It is the search for Shanann Watts by Nichol Kessinger on September 1st of 2017 that kicks off the entire freaking Discovery timeline of the crime. If that is not significant, I don't know what is.
September 1st, 2017.
I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while.
Shanann Watts and her 2 daughters vanished on Monday.
By early 2018, Shanann had built a stellar reputation for her sales performance at Lavelle and was now earning $65,000 to $70,000 a year. In May of the same year, her ever-growing accolades had earned her a feature in the company's in-house magazine, and the whole family would enjoy the perks of Shanann's newfound career success. She was regularly sent on paid trips both statewide and abroad, where Chris, Bella and Celeste would regularly accompany her on her travels. Shanann's exceeding sales targets had even earned her a brand new Lexus 2016 RX, paid for her by her employer, which she was purchasing through the company's car allowance scheme. It seemed as though the couple's financial struggles were slowly becoming a thing of the past. Later that month, Shanann's good luck continued as she discovered that she had fell pregnant for the 3rd time, this time without the use of fertility drugs. Filming her husband's reaction via a Facebook video, she revealed the news to his shock and amazement.
We did it again. I like that shirt.
Really?
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome. Guess when you want to, it happens.
In June, Shanann's employer organised a 5-day trip to San Diego for her to attend a convention.
I'm putting a link in the chat right now to this channel and to this video. Oops. Whoa, sorry. Where'd I go? Not this one. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. I gotta find where I am now. Where that was. Okay. No. Yes. Oh, well, good thing I just posted it right there. I'm just gonna bring it up in another stream. I may have shut it down here. There we go. Yes, credit to the channel Morbid Minds. Ooh, did that link not work? All right, hold up. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. right, let me bring this back into the stream or switch it. Okay. I will also refresh the link. Oops.
Flying out on June 22nd, she took her husband along, also treating the trip as a celebratory occasion. An excited Shanann also planned to have a gender reveal party, scheduled for August 19th, following her 15-week scan, due to take place on August 8th. Upon their return from San Diego on June 27th, Shanann, Bella and Celeste flew out the same day en route to North Carolina, embarking on a 6-week vacation to visit family on both sides. Chris stayed behind in Frederick, Colorado due to work commitments, but planned to join them on the final week of the vacation. Chris searches the internet for information on tickets to Vandermeer Speedway. Within weeks of their vacation, however, Shanann noticed a sudden change in her husband's demeanour. His communications with her gradually became delayed in response, and he began to offer excuses for his sudden lack of communication. As the vacation continued, Chris's sudden change in demeanour became more prominent. On July 7th, Nichol Kessinger, Chris's co-worker, calls Chris Watts at 12:09 a.m, holding a 2-minute conversation. This is the first recorded call logged between the two. Later that evening, Chris's phone connects to various internet routers located within multiple restaurant locations. The following morning on July 8th, Chris offers excuses to Shanann for not responding to her the night before. Later that same day, beginning to grow suspicious, Shanann responds. On July 14th, Chris Watts and Kessinger visit a museum together. Phone records for this day clearly show Chris's lack of communication with his wife. Shanann's calls are ignored for the majority of the day, whilst Chris prioritised communications with his co-worker, both in person and over the phone. Confiding in friends, Shanann claims that Chris had suddenly become distant and unaffectionate. In contrast, however, he would also send periodic messages of affection, leaving Shanann puzzled. Chris soon revealed that his feelings had changed towards her, their marriage and even their unborn child. Shanann became increasingly worried about the future of their marriage. On July 17th, Shanann was sure to FaceTime Chris during Celeste's 3rd birthday party to lift his spirits. She even suggested that they both consider marriage counselling in order to salvage their relationship, but Chris refused such intervention, leaving Shanann feeling helpless and confused. On July 18th, a day after his daughter's 3rd birthday, it is apparent through Chris's phone activity that he and Miss Kessinger's relationship had now progressed into an affair. Chris transfers a large number of images from his phone gallery into a secret calculator application on his phone. Watts also uses Google to search for vacation rentals. Days later, on July 20th, Chris continues to transfer images into his secret app. The following day, he and his mistress go out for the evening to Vandermeer Speedway and the Rooftop Tavern in Morrison. On July 22nd, Chris searches for what we can assume are potential activities that he and Miss Kessinger can partake in. This search performed by Miss Kessinger on July 24th would suggest that she is fully aware of the position both herself and her lover, Chris Watts, are in. That same evening, Shanann sends her husband a message, clearly frustrated and confused by Chris's sudden lack of concern. On July 25th, following a short conversation with his wife, Chris spends almost 3.5 hours searching the internet on the topics related to when to say I love you. That same day, Chris holds a 23-minute conversation with Shanann and receives a voicemail from his mistress during the call. After the call ended, he promptly calls Miss Kessinger back for a short conversation. After checking the weather at sand dunes, he then calls her back. The following day, on July 26th, whilst on an 18-minute call with his wife, Chris simultaneously transfers nude images of Nichol Kessinger into his secret app. On July 28th, Chris Watts and Kessinger spend the night together at the Great Sand Dunes. Chris's July 30th web activity suggests that he is in a highly emotional state following his recent getaway with his mistress, Miss Kessinger. On July 31st, before his flight to North Carolina, Chris transfers a number of images and videos into his secret mobile app. After being away from his family for 5 weeks, Chris flew to North Carolina, initially in high spirits, to finally be with his family. This rare show of affection may be due to a mix of emotions caused by both his recent extramarital activities and excitement to see his children after 5 weeks of separation. Chris's affection continues as his mood remains lifted. It was later noted that following Chris's initial excitement upon his arrival, he then became quiet, distant and disinterested as the week progressed. On both the 2nd and 3rd of August, Chris transfers images, which have since been identified as nude images of Miss Kessinger, into his secret app. Amongst the images was a picture of a necklace, presumably a potential gift for his mistress. On August 4th, Nichol Kessinger searches Google for wedding dresses. She also searched for the Facebook accounts of both Shanann and Chris. As the week continued, Shanann grew increasingly frustrated and suspicious of Chris's ongoing attitude towards their marriage.
North Carolina.
Go back to
So North Carolina. So he still made very frequent communication with me when he was out there, and at one point he told me that they sat down and they talked about it, and he told her that he wanted to either fix things or like to try to fix things, and if she didn't want to fix them, then they needed to like move forward with the separation and like actually file for divorce at this point was the impression that I got from this, and was what he told me. And so he said that she was like pretty receptive to just not trying. He was like, she seemed like she just wants me to go. He's like, when she has her mind made up, she has her mind made up, and that's what she wants. And he's like, she doesn't want to try anymore. And he's like, and neither do I really. And he was like, it's done.
By August 6th, Shanann is now highly suspicious of her husband's demeanour. On August 7th, the day they were all due to fly back home to Colorado, Shanann confided in her friend Addie that Chris wasn't himself. Via text message, she stated, quote, "Chris told me last night he's scared to death about this third baby, and he's happy with just Bella and Celeste and doesn't want another baby." She said, "He has changed. I don't know who he is," and that he hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me, except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. The following day, on August 8th, in the hours before her 15-week scan appointment, scheduled for 7 p.m. that evening, Shanann contacted close friends in order to inform them that she would be cancelling the planned gender reveal party. Shanann's friend Taylor contacted her for clarification of this sudden change of heart. In response, Shanann replied, "Chris said we are not compatible anymore. He refused to hug me, said he thought another baby would fix his feelings, said he refused couples counselling." Chris's responses to friends regarding his unborn child would suggest he was excited about the ultrasound, a far cry from what Shanann had been alleging to her close friends. Kessinger's web history is highly suggestive. Shanann's scan revealed that she was pregnant with a baby boy. She revealed to a chosen few friends that his name would be Nico Lee Watts. Upon her return home that evening, Shanann and Chris had gotten into a marital discussion that ended with reconciliation. This can be gathered by Shanann's phone activity, initially portraying emotional defiance being faced with the prospect of becoming a single mother, which is then contrasted by her Google search on the topic of couples therapy. Shanann's now optimistic tone regarding her relationship can be seen in her messages to friends the following day. On August 9th, Shanann flew out on a business trip to Arizona with close friend Nicole Atkinson, whilst Chris took care of Bella and Celeste at home. Shanann was in good spirits following her and Chris's recently improved communications, which can be seen in...
Yeah, many of you are making the very good point just briefly in here. This was not the video I don't think that I was intending on playing, but you guys seem to be liking it or watching it. It's a good video. So all is well that ends well. You're making a very good point here that a lot of these things that were stated by Nichol Kessinger, don't make any kind of sense or simply not possible if we insert the piece of the puzzle that she was looking at Shanann Watts' Facebook post, because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was. So you guys are making this point again and again. Very good point, very insightful, and yeah, right on.
Her now hopeful messages to friends. Shanann even wrote her husband a letter expressing her emotions in hopes of prompting a response from him. Chris then sent Shanann a somewhat puzzling and disturbing photo message, which notably left her confused. Later that day, Chris continues to transfer semi-nude images sent by Nichol Kessinger. Ignoring his previously baffling picture message, Shanann's optimism continued on to the next morning on Friday, August 10th, where she sends a loving warning message to Chris and her daughters whilst en route to Arizona. Please pause if you care to read this message in its entirety.
So this is missing from Watt's phone, but it was found in Shanann's phone. So it says, "Good morning, honey. Sorry to make you wake up early twice today. I didn't want the alarm going off." So this is okay. So the whole Watts family returned home on August 7th, 2018. Shanann was there for a total of 2 nights, and then she turned around and went back to Arizona on her work trip. So I've made this point before. During the entire duration of Nichol Kessinger's relationship with Chris Watts, according to their timeline, she only had to put up with Shanann being home, so to speak, from her perspective, for 2.5 days. And she was so intolerant to what she had to deal with in those 2.5 days. Look what happened. That's how I see it shaken out. So Shanann here just writes him a very sweet message. I sometimes don't read these messages from Shanann. I've still yet to on this channel read the note that Shanann left him, because I just feel like it's so intimate and private and from her heart. And I don't know. You all can read them, of course, but it's a very, very sweet message from Shanann. She's clearly very hopeful that things are going to be working out with her husband.
Later that morning, Chris messaged friend Jeremy Lindstrom to ask if his daughter was available to babysit Bella and Celeste the following evening on August 11th. He claimed he had won tickets to a Rockies game taking place and wished to attend. His daughter was happy to oblige. August 11th. Kessinger spends 45 minutes searching the internet on topics related to anal sex. This progressed into watching pornographic videos. It is noted by investigators that this type of internet activity was not a new occurrence in regards to Miss Kessinger's private browser history.
Did he ever mention a Rockies game that night?
No, I don't think so. But the Broncos were playing.
Okay.
So he had to get a babysitter that night. He came to my house. We drove my truck.
So you guys take your 4Runner to the Lazy Dog.
Yep. And then we left. So Saturday, yes, we went out. He had the babysitter. He went home.
Waking up on August 12th, the morning of the day she was due to return home, Shanann sends another loving message to her husband. Missing her daughters greatly, she asks Chris to send her photos of them both. These 2 pictures would be the last known images of Bella and Celeste alive. Later that day, Chris volunteers through co-workers to check a particular work site the following morning. In addition to other sites he was scheduled to attend to, Nicole Atkinson would later state that Shanann had been feeling very poorly during the trip, and she had made an appointment at the women's clinic back home, scheduled for 10 a.m. on August 13th. Shanann and Nicole were due to land back in Denver at 11 p.m. that evening on August 12th, but due to a flight delay, the pair landed at Denver International Airport in the early hours of August 13th. Nichol then drove Shanann to her residence, where she entered her home at 1:48 a.m. This would be the last time Nichol saw her friend alive.
When I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like,
well, let's pause here. Welcome to those of you who are coming in, and let's see. Sorry, I couldn't. Let's see. I just have to make this bigger so I can read it. Tanel Ray, and welcome. How are you doing? Asks. So, do y'all think she helped him with the whole thing? So, for those that we already did a poll. So, for those of you in chat, if you think that Kessinger helped him with the whole thing, put a 1 in chat. If you don't think so, put a 2. And if you're not sure, I guess just hold off on this one.
she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. So I have no idea like where they went.
At approximately 5:30 a.m. on the morning of August 13th, Christopher Watts entered his truck and left for work, leaving his wife and daughters in bed asleep. At 8:25 a.m., Chris stages a call to Shanann's phone. He then accesses the internet to search for the contact information for the school of which his daughters attend. He then calls the school, where he informs them that his girls would no longer be in attendance. Moments later, he calls the estate agents. At 10:10 a.m., Chris searches the internet for the lyrics to the song Battery by Metallica. Later that morning, friend Nicole attempted to call and text Shanann's mobile in order to check up on her, aware that she had a scheduled doctor's appointment early that morning. But her attempt...
So I just want to read this comment here, and welcome. Let's see. Oh no, it's Emily, says, also, long ago, I watched some videos saying a female called the doctor's office asking if oxycodone could cause miscarriage. Is there any truth to that, or just someone adding spice to a video? Well, I think as far as we can confirm to be true, I'd have to say that somebody just adding spice to a video, in my opinion. Based on the evidence that we have that can be proven backed and that we know to be factual, that cannot be determined based on the evidence that we are privy to as the public. So that's what I have to say about that. And that's something that, we like to pride ourselves on this channel, is staying, evidence-based and close to all of the facts and the truth, as we know it to be after all the analysis that we can do is done. There is only so much that we can know, and something you're not going to find on this channel are things that are made up. But thank you for adding that, because I had heard that too. And I looked into it.
Were met with no response. Thinking it's highly unusual and out of character of her friend given to circumstances, Nicole, accompanied by her son Nicholas, drove to Shanann's residence. Arriving at the Watts home at approximately 12:10 p.m. that afternoon, Nicole knocked on the door and called out for Shanann multiple times, but was met with no response. She then makes her way to the garage doors of the home in order to establish if her friend's white Lexus was still parked inside. She saw that Shanann's vehicle was still parked in the garage and noted that the children's car seats were still affixed. Becoming increasingly worried, Nicole then returns back to the front door. The Watts home required a passcode to gain entry, and with prior knowledge of the entry code, Nicole successfully opens the front door at 12:17 p.m. However, the door only opens a few inches due to a security latch, of which can only be accessed from inside the residence. The security system installed at the Watts was linked to their mobile phones, notifying them if any doors were open without their knowledge. Upon receiving a notification following her entry, Chris immediately called Nicole at 12:18 p.m. She alerted him of the situation and urged him to return home immediately. In response, Chris tells her that Shanann was on a play date, but Nicole was highly skeptical due to Shanann's unusual lack of communication. Once off the phone, Nicole and her son remained at the residence, continuing their attempts at contacting Shanann. Nicole was now frantically contacting friends and family. In hopes of alerting any occupants inside the house, the home security system was purposely triggered at 12:27 p.m. Receiving another notification on his phone, Chris called Nicole immediately and instructed her and her son to leave the property, asking them to not call the police or kick the door in. Nicole then drove to Shanann's health clinic, where they established that she hadn't shown up to her 10 a.m. appointment that morning. Nichol and Nicholas then rushed back to Shanann's residence, where they again attempted to make contact at 12:41 p.m. with no success. Notified again of her presence, Chris called Nichol, where he informed her that he was making his way back home, but was still an hour away. Following an agonising wait for Chris to show up, and still with no sign of his arrival, Nichol called him again at 1:31 p.m. At 1:40 p.m, Nichol then decided to contact the police in order to request that a welfare check can be carried out immediately. The first responding officer, Officer Scott Coonrod of the Frederick Police Department, arrived at the residence at approximately 1:50 p.m.
Hi. Hey, Nicole? Yes. What's going on?
With Nichole's assistance, they successfully opened the front door, but as it did prior, the door only opened a few inches. The officer then proceeds to announce his presence into the home in hopes of prompting a response from any occupants inside, but he was met with silence. He noted that all doors and windows were closed and locked, leaving no way in. The officer then notices that the home's garage doors had a security system which required an access code to open. Nichol then tells the officer that she had already contacted Chris multiple times, but feared he wasn't coming due to his lack of urgency and not arriving on the multiple times he said he would arrive.
Do you mind calling him and seeing if we can get a passcode to this and give me permission to go in? Okay.
She calls Chris again at 1:59 p.m. to request the garage door's passcode, but Chris tells her the doors are not in working order and can only be opened from the inside. Minutes later, Officer Coonrod calls Chris back for clarification, where Chris tells the officer that the security system wasn't in working order, but that he was 5 minutes out and on his way immediately.
Hey, Chris, Officer Coonrod for the police department. So, do you have any idea where your wife is? Okay. Right. Well, my concern is her car's here. They're saying she is diabetic. I don't want her, if she's upstairs and can't respond. Okay. About how far out are you? Okay. All right.
Minutes later, as the officer was preparing to breach the front door, Chris's truck arrived on the driveway. Using his garage door opener to gain access to the home, Chris then gave consent for the entire home to be searched. Shanann, Bella and Celeste were nowhere to be found. After venturing upstairs, Chris returned to the officer holding his wife's wedding ring, claiming he had discovered it on a nightstand located within the master bedroom. Shanann's phone was discovered in between cushions of an upstairs sofa. Nichol was quick to mention that it was highly unusual for her friend to leave without her phone due to the nature of her work. Chris told the responding officer that his wife arrived home at approximately 2 a.m. earlier that morning, whilst he and the children were asleep. He stated he had woke up at 5 a.m. to get ready for work, at which point he and his wife got into a discussion over marital issues. He then stated that after backing his truck up to the garage to load his tools, he left his home at 5:27 a.m. for work, leaving his wife and kids in bed asleep. He told the officer that Shanann had told him that her and the children were going to a friend's house later that day, but he had no idea who the friend was or when she would be returning. He said he was the only operator present on his job site, located nearby Hudson, for a few hours that morning. Soon after, Officer Coonrod received a call from Shanann's mother, Sandra Ruzek, where she expressed her concerns regarding Christopher's involvement. Officer Coonrod then called for the assistance of Detective Dave Barmhover. Upon his arrival, Detective Barmhover again asked Chris to recount the last time he saw his wife. This time, Chris's story changed slightly. He now claims that Shanann had arrived home from the airport at 1:48 a.m, not approximately 2 a.m. as previously claimed. Watts explained that he knew this because a doorbell camera alert was sent to his phone. He now stated that at approximately 4 a.m, not 5 a.m. as previously claimed, he initiated a discussion with Shanann regarding marital separation, which left both parties very emotional. He told the detective that before he left for work at 5:27 a.m, Shanann told him she and the children were going to a friend's house later that day. In his report, Detective Barmhover noted that when he later asked Chris to recall his day again, he added that soon after he awoke at 4 a.m, he left the master bedroom and went to the basement where he worked out for 15 minutes before returning to the bedroom to speak to Shanann about marital separation. Watts then told the detective that he and Shanann had been having financial troubles and planned on selling the home in order to purchase a smaller property. When asked if he and Shanann were planning to live together, Chris said he would get an apartment somewhere while Shanann and the girls would move into the new home, where they would both share custody of their children. Chris later informed detectives that he had attempted to contact Shanann at both 7:40 a.m. and 8:25 a.m. earlier that morning, as well as most recently at 2:11 p.m., but received no response. Chris was instructed by authorities to call all nearby hospitals in search of his pregnant wife and 2 children. Authorities then conducted a search of the residence, where they discovered all Shanann's personal effects. Her purse, wallet, and medication were all located in the kitchen of the home. They also noticed that the bedding in the master bedroom had been stripped off and bundled on the floor, and both pillowcases and a top sheet were recovered from the kitchen trash can. The bed's fitted sheet remained missing, but the search of the property revealed no signs of foul play. Police reported that Chris's demeanour was nonchalant and, for the severity of the situation, lacked concern. They also discovered Chris's work truck was fitted with GPS and proceeded to work on retrieving the data it contained to track his whereabouts following the disappearance. Authorities initiated an immediate neighbourhood canvass, and a statewide BOLO alert was issued to be on the lookout for Shanann, Bella and Celeste.
Playing the role of concerned husband, but by the next day, the tone of the investigation had changed.
Right there.
By 7 a.m. the following morning, on August 14th, there was still no sign of Shanann, Bella and Celeste. Authorities requested an immediate press release be issued and requested assistance from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and ultimately the FBI. As local news networks began to catch wind of the escalating events, Denver 7 News were able to get an exclusive interview with Chris Watts outside his suburban home. During the interview, Chris pleads for the safe return of his pregnant wife and their 2 daughters. However, his televised appeal would not have the desired effect one would think. This was due to Chris's unnaturally calm persona and the lack of emotion he showed whilst the interview was conducted.
Chris Watts, WATTS. Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing. It's vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nobody was here. Shanann, SHANANN. What's your kids? Bella and Celeste. Bella's 4, Celeste is 3. Last night, I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here. My kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. That's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it. I want everybody to just come home. Like wherever they're at, come home. That's what I want. I just want them back. I just want them to come back. And if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like somebody has to come forward. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
That's it. You took that mic off.
Authorities were already working diligently on the case and actively investigating all leads, including Chris himself. Later that evening, Chris Watts was interviewed by FBI Special Agent Graham Coder. During the interview, Agent Coder asked Chris if he suspected his wife of infidelity and if he himself had been unfaithful. Chris stated that he was not aware of his wife being unfaithful, but that it was totally possible. When asked if he was seeing anyone else, Chris's tone of voice lowered and he responded, "No, I have not done that." He then told authorities that there had been a disconnect in their relationship in recent months and that they had fell out of love with each other, stating that it wasn't, quote, there anymore. Investigators remained highly sceptical of Chris's account of events and the reasons he gave regarding the sudden breakdown of his marriage. They had also commenced interviewing close friends, family, neighbours and co-workers, and began to form a clearer picture regarding the status of Shanann and Chris's relationship, as well as them as individuals. It seemed as though their feelings towards each other weren't as mutual as Chris had been portraying. Another close friend of Shanann's, Christina Meacham, stated that she and Shanann spoke daily, and Shanann had confided in her that Chris had been acting cold towards her in recent months. She said that while Shanann was on a 6-week trip with her children to see relatives in North Carolina, Shanann had called her claiming that Chris wouldn't touch or kiss her anymore. She also revealed to her that Chris did not want the baby she was pregnant with, and that he said he was scared. Such details became a running theme within those who were interviewed. Shanann's parents, Sandra and Frank Ruzek, were very vocal in voicing their concerns about the disappearance of their daughter and granddaughters, and believed that their son-in-law had something to do with it. Following the interview, the FBI informed Christopher Watts that he would need to be included as a suspect in the disappearance of his wife and daughters. The special agent conducting the interview reported that he felt that Chris seemed to be providing statements that were not completely truthful. He asked Chris if he would be willing to complete a polygraph test the following day, to which Chris agreed.
A heartbreaking outcome to the story we have been tracking all week, the confession of a father.
On the morning of Wednesday, August 15th, hours before the polygraph test was due to commence, detectives were contacted by Tony Husky, Regional Security Manager at Anadarko Petroleum, Chris's employer. He told investigators that he had reviewed Chris's computer network traffic. He revealed that he had discovered emails between Chris Watts and a fellow female employee who he identified as Nichol Kessinger, and it appeared a relationship between the two began around June 2018. As previously shown, police records of Kessinger's web history showed that she Google searched the name Shanann Watts in September of 2017. This would suggest that her interest of Christopher Watts had formed months earlier than alleged. Around the same time investigators discovered this new information, Nichol Kessinger herself contacted authorities voluntarily in order to disclose all she knew about Chris and the ongoing investigation. In addition, they now also possessed the GPS data of Chris's work truck, and authorities had immediately begun analysing the new intelligence. Investigators withheld this new information pending the results of Chris's polygraph examination. Following an in-depth pre-test evaluation, agents Tammy Lee commenced with the scheduled examination. Watts was asked 3 main questions over 3 chart repetitions, to which he answered no to each question.
Regarding Shanann's disappearance, do you intend to answer all of the questions truthfully?
Yes.
Are you lying about the last time you saw Shanann?
No.
Do you know where Shanann is now?
No.
Did you physically cause Shanann's disappearance?
No.
Following his examination, investigators then conducted a post-test interview with Chris. They informed him that the conclusion of his polygraph examination indicated that he was being deceptive. As investigators pressed him on the results and advised him to tell the truth, he continued to deny his involvement in the disappearance of his family.
I do not know where they are at. If I could have my babies back home right now, I would. I want them back. I want everybody back. That is the God's honest truth.
Simultaneously, whilst the interview was being conducted, authorities had arrived at site CERVI 319 after following the GPS data retrieved from Chris's work truck. They completed a drone search of the site. During the search, investigators had discovered a bedsheet in the field near a tank battery. The sheet matched the bedding that had been recovered from the kitchen bin in the Watts residence. The search also revealed fresh movement of dirt consistent with the shallow grave site near the oil tanks. As the interview intensified and investigators pressed him further regarding the whereabouts of Shanann, Bella and Celeste, Chris continued to adamantly deny any knowledge, but revealed that he had been lying about his extramarital affairs.
I didn't hurt her. I cheated on her. I hurt her emotionally. I cheated on her. I feel absolutely horrible about this, but I didn't go to the Rocky game. I was with her. I went to dinner with her. That 5 weeks I was alone, I was with her most of the time. Who is her? I don't want to get her involved in this. I don't want to ruin her life. She's a wonderful person. Like, I mean, she knew I was married, yes. And I told her we were going through issues, yes. I saw her, took my breath away.
Referring to his mistress in the third person as she or her, he admitted that he hadn't attended the Rockies game as he initially claimed on August 11th, but was instead with her at dinner. Investigators told Chris that they didn't think his girlfriend hurt anyone, and that we should leave her out of it and get back to focusing on his wife and daughters.
I don't think this girl did anything to hurt anybody. So can we leave her out of it? Okay. Get back to your wife and your daughters. Okay. Where are they? That I do not know. Well, Chris, in an interview today, you weren't asked about infidelity. You were asked about... I was holding back from last night. We're very, very worried about your daughters and your wife. I am too. Okay.
Chris continued to deny knowing anything about the disappearance and told investigators that the affair was all he had been hiding, reminding Chris that he wasn't questioned in regards to his infidelity on the polygraph. They revealed to Chris that they already possessed information regarding his girlfriend, Nikki.
Going into that interview today with Tammy, where we strapped you in, we knew all about Nikki. Okay? All about her. We knew about Nikki, and so we didn't need to ask you about her in the polygraph.
Following 5 to 6 hours of interrogation, Chris began to buckle under the pressure, and after requesting to speak with his father, he stated that he wanted to tell the truth. His story now took a dark turn. He now claims that he and Shanann had got into a heated discussion in the master bedroom, where he told her of his wishes to separate. He said he then walked out of the room and downstairs for a moment to pack for work and heard commotion upstairs, but thought nothing of it. Shortly after, he returned to the room to speak with Shanann again. He saw via the baby monitor located on Shanann's nightstand that his daughter Bella was laying sprawled out on her bed with her covers pulled off of her. In a panic, he said he then ran into the bedroom where he saw Shanann over Celeste and actively strangling her, who had now turned blue in complexion. He told authorities that this sent him into a rage and he strangled Shanann to death. He then loaded all 3 bodies onto the back seat of his truck and drove to an oil battery site belonging to his employer, known as CERVI 319. He told detectives that he then buried Shanann's body, dressed in a t-shirt and underwear, near 2 oil tanks and dumped the bodies of his 2 daughters, dressed in their pajamas, inside the oil tanks. Following his confession, Chris was presented with an aerial image of CERVI 319 that had been earlier captured during a drone search of the area, where he identified the locations of the bodies. Christopher Lee Watts was taken into custody and held at the Weld County Jail for the murder of his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. The media storm that followed the arrest only grew in intensity as the police investigation deepened.
Developments in the murder of a pregnant woman and her 2 children.
The husband of a pregnant Colorado woman confesses to murdering her and his 2 daughters. It's a story we've been following closely now for days.
Overnight, police towing this truck and collecting evidence at the home of a man arrested for the murder of his pregnant wife and 2 daughters.
A heartbreaking outcome to the story we have been tracking all week, the confession of a father.
Chris Watts went on TV Tuesday.
If somebody has her, just please bring her back. I just want them back. I just want them to come back.
Investigators returned to the family home last night and searched the house. Overnight, the Frederick Police Department issued a release saying Chris Watts had been arrested in connection with the case.
Watts allegedly told investigators he will lead them to the bodies. He is now in jail awaiting.
I do want to clarify something, and it has to do with Ashley's comment here. So Ashley said, so because they knew he was doing somebody else to them automatically means that they don't need to ask about her. What does that have to do with anything? So I know that some people have made the point of, how would they know anything about the girls? Because according to the polygraph examination questions, they only asked about Shanann. Well, that is how a polygraph works. They have to select a series of questions that pertains to an issue that is most central to the crime, and they only ask questions based on that one issue that is central to a crime. So, for example, in this case, the polygraph administrator, Tammy Lee, couldn't ask a couple questions about Shanann, and then a couple questions about Bella, and then a couple questions about Cece, and a couple questions about NK. In order for the polygraph to be scientifically valid, it needs to work, the questioning needs to work within those specific parameters after they do that pre to the examination interview to get his baseline, and then they do the post-interview. Does that make sense? I've heard a lot of talk about that recently, and people are like, oh, they don't know anything about the polygraph. They didn't even ask about the girls. Well, according to how polygraphs work in a multifaceted crime, they didn't have to. They had to choose one topic that is central to the crime. And, assuming that the children are with their mother, that is what was the fate of their mother, Shanann. And what does Chris know about it, or what did he have to do about it? That is how a polygraph exam series of questions remains scientifically valid.
Charges. Wednesday night, the body of his pregnant wife, Shanann, was discovered on the property of one of his work sites.
We have been able to recover a body that we're quite certain is Shanann Watts' body. We have strong reason to believe that we know where the bodies of the children are, and recovery efforts are in process.
This quiet suburban home is where investigators believe the suspect killed his wife and two young children. It's believed all of their bodies have now been recovered.
Shanann's brother says his sister was pregnant with a boy, Nico.
Breaking this hour, the man accused of murdering his pregnant wife and their two young children told police that his wife was strangling the kids, causing him to go into a rage.
This is Christopher Watts' story. He is claiming that his wife in a rage.
The defense asked the judge to obtain DNA right away, and the defense indicates that the girls were likely strangled. The documents paint a picture of a fight between Watts' defense and prosecutors. In the end, a judge says he will not tell the coroner how to conduct his investigation or order him to get DNA right away. Motion denied.
A 2-day investigation revealed Chris was actively involved in an affair with a coworker, which he denied in previous interviews.
The mistress of the cold-hearted killer, they met at a Colorado oil company where they both worked. Watts told the woman he was in the final stages of a divorce from his wife, Shanann. Nichol Kessinger says she started dating Watts in June. When his wife was on business or visiting her parents, they saw each other as many as 5 times a week. Watts even asked her to help him find a bachelor pad for when he got a divorce.
He's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Shanann confided to friends she suspected her husband was having an affair. Nichol says she was shocked to see Watts on TV appealing for his family's safe return. I found out he was still married and his wife was 15 weeks pregnant. I thought, if he was able to lie to me and hide something that big, what else was he lying about?
Mr. Watts entered a plea of guilty to all 9 counts. Those counts include murder in the first degree after deliberation as to Shanann Watts, murder in the first degree as to Bella Watts, murder in the first degree as to Celeste Watts, unlawful termination of a pregnancy as it relates to Nico Watts, and 3 counts of unlawful tampering with a deceased human body.
Father of slain Shanann Watts gave an emotional statement venting his anger and grief.
You heartless monster. You have no heart or feelings or love. Prison is too good for you. This is hard to say, but may God have mercy on your soul.
Shanann's mother reminded Watts of a heartbreaking video his daughter Bella recorded.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong.
We loved you like a son. We trusted you. Your faithful wife trusted you. Your children adored you.
As Watts strangled his wife, it would have taken up to 4 minutes to end her life. Then he smothered his 2 daughters. 4-year-old Bella fought back as her dad was killing her. Even more shocking, just hours after burying his wife and dumping his daughters' bodies in oil tanks, he was back with his co-workers, acting as if nothing had happened.
The court is going to sentence you, sir, to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole.
The autopsy, carried out by Dr. Michael Burson.
Yes, and those of you saying like here, like Bonnie or what Ashley Victoria just said, they could have asked so many questions, not just on the poly, but in general. Absolutely. I think they should have asked so many more questions in general. I thought you guys were just talking about in reference to the polygraph exam, so that's why I was clarifying that. But I absolutely agree. There's a whole, oh my gosh, so many questions and so many properly posed questions that weren't asked.
And on August 17th, revealed that the cause of death for both 4-year-old Bella Marie and 3-year-old Celeste Catherine Watts was asphyxiation due to smothering. 4-year-old Bella showed signs that she had fought for her life, possessing bruised gums, a torn inner lip, and having bit her tongue during her fatal attack. Their small bodies were discovered dressed in their pajamas in the oil tanks. 15-week pregnant Shanann Catherine Watts had also died from asphyxiation, but due to manual strangulation. When her body was discovered in a shallow grave, she was laying face down in the fetal position. In producing this documentary, we specifically chose not to include the full accounts of Nichol Kessinger in order to keep most of the focus on Chris Watts, whilst providing insight into Shanann's frame of mind throughout her communications with both her husband and close friends. Instead, we have provided you with the most relevant information regarding Miss Kessinger's personal communications and web history, as well as her recorded interviews with authorities. Judging by her final web search, performed 7 days following the murder of Shanann, Bella and Celeste at the hands of her lover Chris Watts, we can assume that she hopes to have the opportunity in the near future to tell her side of this story in full. If, however, you was and are interested in reading further into Nichol Kessinger's testimonies to police, you can find the link to the police case file in the description, as well as page numbers of interest, which we have provided for your convenience. Thank you for watching.
Oh my gosh, well that was a total treat. My gosh, the portion that I intended to show you guys and was just a couple minutes at the very end there, but that was a really great documentary, so I just let it go. And hey, Rosie, sorry. Oh, Rosie Russo, is that how you say your last name? Thank you so much, Rosie. I appreciate it. She says, hello, Kelly. Thank you, sweetie, for all your hard work to bring us the best videos on YouTube. Oh, thank you. That's so very kind. Well, thank you guys for being the best channel community on YouTube. You guys are so smart. I am just loving reading your chat posts to the degree where I was forgetting to pin them for a little while because I was just like so super into it. You guys are sharp. You are. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Yeah, that was a great documentary. So the channel is Morbid Minds, and as I was saying earlier before we got into that was like a good rabbit hole, or just an unintended thing that just happened. I'm glad I made a mistake and tried to play the whole video, and I only wanted to play a few minutes at the end because it was all really worthwhile. Morbid Minds is a YouTube channel. It looks as though they posted videos between 5 and 7 years ago. Maybe we should let them know. We want them to get back on it because I think that was a very, very well put together video. So kudos to you, Morbid Minds. Everyone, go check them out. I mean, their YouTube channel is still alive. You know, your views and in subscribing to them is still meaningful, even if they aren't currently making videos, but maybe they'll be back. So yeah, that was really great. Wow. I thought it was. Did you guys like that? And the poll that I put up way long ago now, I'm going to put an end to that now. Let me see what the results are. So the question was, vote now or forever hold your peace. Chris Watts had 46 minutes at CERVI 319. We hatched that out in the very beginning of the live stream. If you weren't here, we worked it all out through the timelines and the discovery. Is that enough time for him? Oh, I'm sorry, I had a typo there. Surprise, surprise. To do what was done on his own. Thus far, 169 votes. 40% of you said yes. And I am with that 40%. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what happened, but I do think there was enough time. But I could be wrong on that. I mean, that's just not scientific in my own brain. I could be off. And 60% of you said no. Now there's 170 votes. Again, Chris Watts had 46 minutes at CERVI 319. Is that enough time for him to do it? Was done at CERVI 319 on his own. 60% of you said no, it was not enough time for him to do that on his own. 40% of you said yes. I'm going to put an end to that poll. Thanks, guys. Thanks for voting. Thanks for participating in the chat. So yeah, wow, that was great. I thought that was great. Yeah, totally great. Great documentary. Oh, documentary. You guys taught me how to say that word right. Documentary. I'm sorry to all the people that I've royally pissed off by saying documentary. Documentary. Pink says, guarantee if he left Shanann, his relationship with NK wouldn't have lasted. What was he thinking? I think you're right on that, Pink. Gosh. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that, McJay. I just saw your message. I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised on that one. So, Veronica says, how you doing, Veronica? Can't, just won't. And that's a problem because they don't have evidence to show Skanky Empanada, or for you, I say empanada. For Stevie, I know it's empanada. I know. Is innocent. You know, I know, we all know. Well, you know, the problem is they really didn't do her much of a service at all. They didn't do anyone a service by not completing that investigation and not completing the investigation into her. And if they did, they certainly didn't make any of it public, because now people are just left with this wild speculation and a district attorney whose most recent final remarks are, leave me alone, right? I mean, man, that is an honorable public servant. Pink says, hashtag best community on YouTube. YouTube needs to add that hashtag to your descriptions. Aw, thanks, Pink. This is an awesome community, isn't it? Great people. What? Angel D, and I've missed you. I'm not sure what to make of this, but I'm going to read it. I don't compliment Kelly anymore after she said NK would love me in my ass kissy compliments. Oh, I'm not sure if you're being serious or not, but if I said something to hurt your feelings, I'm truly sorry. I love you and value you and miss you. I haven't seen you in a while. I really don't mean to be, I just love you guys. I don't mean to be mean to anybody. And if I am trying to be mean to somebody, it's somebody specific and y'all know it, right? Let's see. You not alone. Angel D says, nope, not alone. Let's see. So Tanal says he must have dug them prior. Some people do think that. And earlier in this live stream, we went over a video I previously made that has my research for the historical weather records for that Monday, August 13th, and then the Tuesday as well. They're accurate. You can go check it out if you weren't there for that part of it, because the weather does play a role in that discussion for those who think that he may have dug them earlier, and he may have. You know, something that always sticks with me is, and this isn't scientific, this isn't anything like that, but is Jeremy, why can't I think of his last, Lindstrom, when Jeremy and Jennifer Lindstrom's son just happens to be present in the CBI's interview with Jeremy and Jennifer, and he's like trying to get his dad's attention. He says, I just keep seeing them talking about Bella and Cece because those were his friends, sitting in a hole. I'm going to find for you exactly what it said there, but you know, he implies that Bella and Celeste are like just sitting there in like a vacant hole in the middle of nowhere. That's like the visual you got. And that really sticks with me because I do believe in the intuitive power of a child, of a young mind, of a young spirit, of a young soul. And that is, you know, far from scientific as far as being measurable and validated and whatnot. When I do like to stay scientific, but that just sticks with me like on a visceral kind of like gut level. Yeah. On his own is the key question. That's right. Yes, it is. see. I'm not sure what you're replying to here, but Tracy says, it makes sense when he said he knew that that would be their last day as children. That really was strange. Yeah. Thank you, Bob. I got so much crap for saying documentary. Where I'm from in New York, I've asked so many people. I got so much crap from people on YouTube when I put up my first things I call documentaries. You all taught me how to say it right. And I say documentary. And that's how people from around where I am from do say it. But wow, that caused a lot of stuff. Man. Oh. Debbie Crummas, this is a good question, says, Kelly, did someone in law enforcement do a reenactment of the time it might have taken for Chris Watts to do everything? As far as we know, we being the public, as far as I know, that we, the public, do not have knowledge of that. But, if they really were doing a true investigation and really vetting out his timeline and his so-called confessions, they would have done something of the sort, right? Yeah, really good question. Yeah. Oh, Robin Fogg fell asleep. That's okay. There's replay, but welcome. I'm glad you're here to say hello. Hello from Maine. Oh, beautiful state. Beautiful state. Maine is a beautiful state. Yeah, please do click the thumbs up if you haven't yet. I'm going to end this soon because, as I told you, I'd start late tonight because my best friend is visiting here. She had to drive 6 hours to get here today, and so we're going to get up in the morning and do some stuff, so I don't want to be up too late because I want to spend some time with her. It's a treasure. It's a cherished time to get to see her. Farah says exactly what Veronica, Bonnie, and Kelly have said. I'm not sure to exactly what, but hi, Farah. How are you doing? Bonnie says they helped ruin her reputation, so she was concerned about it. That was her biggest concern, wasn't it? It sure was. Local Jazz Hand says, I said yes because I believe he dug the hole prior to that morning and had plenty of time for texting and working too. So as we did look at that discovery timeline, in the 46 minutes that he was there from his arrival at 6:53 and 57 seconds, we're calling it 6:54 a.m., to when he sends his first stage text message to Shanann at 7:40 a.m., and then he gets on the phone for 2.5 minutes. And at that time, I think that can really signify that he's done doing whatever he had to do. There was that 46-minute time period where he was at CERVI. In that 46-minute time period, the only two things that he did as far as his phone activity was concerned was he replied okay to Cody Roberts, and he took a picture of his computer laptop. In that 46 minutes, those were the only two things he did on his phone. Just to kind of brief what we already went over in the beginning of the stream. Ashley, oh, thank you so much. I love your channel and subs. Great subscribers. You guys are the best. And yeah, I love my channel too. And thank you so much. You guys make the channel. Thank you so much. Crime Pod says, and how are you doing, Crime Pod? It's great to see you. I was thinking about you recently. Well, I think about you every now and then, but think about you recently pertaining to this case. Skimmed on a full investigation because of funding and laziness. District Attorney dummy. I agree with all of that. Yeah. Kevin says, and Kevin is our oil tank expert. He works in that environment. He works in the same kind of job that Chris Watts would have. Says he says he doesn't know why separate tanks. Do you think that there's a reason for him choosing separate tanks, Kevin? Your opinion on that would be really important. Angel D says, oh, I took a break from YouTube. Oh, well, I'm glad you're back. I thought you were really mad at me. Aw, well, it's really great to see you, Angel D. I was in a mood and had a headache. Oh, so I did say something that I'm sorry. I got nothing but love for you. Yeah, I try to, when you're doing a live stream, you try not to let your moods or you're not feeling so great come out, but sometimes you can't help it. Or sometimes you really can't help it and you're just not even trying. But I'm so sorry if I said something to hurt your feelings. Oh, Rosie says, I'm one of the sweetest girls on YouTube. Well, thank you. I don't, said before, and I'll say again, I don't want anyone to come here and have that contribute to them having a bad day. I really don't want that for anyone. Life is hard, and I just don't want that for anybody. Amanda Kay says, Watts the obsession. They told Chris Watts after the polygraph that she didn't hurt anyone, but how did they know? They didn't. Oh, absolutely, Amanda Kay. Yeah, you guys were talking about that earlier. Some of you were. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, and why he showed NK the survey photo showing that he was going through with their plan. Well, we know that she does admit herself. She says it in her own, interview with Kevin Kovac that she demanded evidence from him that he was at CERVI 319 that day when he was planning to go right out to the field instead of the office. And he says, even though she said she wasn't on the phone with him that morning, that she received that proof from him in the form of a photograph that she describes while she was still on the phone with him. She says it twice. Caught in her own skanky empanada lies. Documentary. Just kidding. Don't lose your sarcasm. Thank you. Hi, Giovanni's Pikachu. Nice to see you. Let me see. I just want to see if I asked Kevin a question. I want to see if I. Okay, so he said doesn't know why. He says he doesn't know why separate tanks. And then I'm just seeing if you answered. Do you think there's a reason why separate tanks? And if you can't answer, that's okay. But I'm just looking anyway, because Kevin's opinion is worth tuning into. CrimePot says he went after the birthday party. His phone didn't connect to the home router until after 9 p.m. I know that you're right about that. I haven't looked at the router information in such a long time. I have to look at that again. Connie says he doesn't seem to know much, right, Kevin? Or maybe a selective memory? Our girl Pink says he rushed it. Think about it. He leaves a sheet out. I really feel he could have pulled it off in the short time he did. I think he did. I think so too. But I've already said that. Are you talking about the channel we just showed, or do you have another channel that has good detail? Because you can share that. Marco said, I support other channels. I came across that channel a couple of weeks ago by mistake. The detail in it is impressive. Yeah, I came across this channel Morbid Minds by mistake as well. And I thought it was really well done. So Kevin, okay, Thomas McCarthy. Now we're all shooting questions at Kevin. Says, but no, let's see. Please do. I mean, until he can't take it anymore. Says Kevin, did they use generators on that site? Thomas is commenting he didn't see any power lines. And Kevin says, yeah. So, or were you answering? Kevin, do you think that he chose the separate tanks for a reason? I need to know. I need to know what you think, Kevin, and why. They would have had to bring them. I'm not sure which question you're asking. Kevin is very popular right now, as he should be. NK's crowned the home record of the decade. Yes. Bonnie Rigg is one of those who believes that, as she says, Troy Shady McCoy had something to do with it, possibly for explosion insurance money. Now, I personally am not along the lines of thinking that, but again, my opinion is not necessarily better than anyone else's who knows the facts of the case. These are just matters of opinion, but oh, Kevin says light towers double as generators. It's interesting. Okay, so this is something I want to address. Amanda Kay says to Veronica, yeah, he said we had a shovel or something like that at one point. I can't remember. Now, when he says we, when he's talking about the shovel and, the equipment on the oil field, if you listen to the context around that, he is talking about, in that context around those pronouns, he and his coworkers or he and his company. So I personally believe, I think there are times when he uses pronouns that are not proper. But personally, this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong. Nobody really knows the answer to this one, I guess, other than Chris Watts. When he says we in that context, or our rake, or, we use this, I believe he's talking about we as a company. It's our property, myself and the company and my coworkers. That's how I've always taken that. I don't normally say that because people that usually think it's we for another reason are usually pretty like gung-ho about it. But that's just my take on it, which is really not worth anyone more than anyone else's take on it. Angel D says, wouldn't the drainage of the tanks or weight changes in the oil tanks cause some kind of alert? And I know this is a question we've looked into before, and I believe the answer is yes, but I am not, by far an expert on oil tanks. So, and Kevin says no, Angel. Oh, right. I actually, as I'm recalling that being talked about before, I know Kevin set me straight on that before. So that's so great that we have Kevin here. Private Eye says, I still think the grave was fresh on Wednesday morning and Shanann potentially put in there then. Someone was there that morning. Black bags would have blown away for sure. Yeah, I mean, unless they were like really caught in some of that brush, and we don't know that, right? But that's a good point. Tanel says one in each tank makes no sense either. What the fuck logic is that? I feel ya. Yeah, Watts stopped the clock. That's BS. Proven by so many things. I can't even go down that route right now because I already felt my blood pressure go whoop. Yeah. Kevin says you measure the water in the tanks by hand. Oh, wow. That's super interesting. Using a measuring rope. Oh, wow. So it's not like fancy equipment because Kevin, in Troy McCoy's interview, he talks about, I won't be able to find it right now, or I tried to. I won't be able to. This will just take us out another half hour or so. But he talks about some guy that uses some, like, what I might be adding to this a little bit, but the way I understand it to be is he uses some, like, kind of like fancy, calibrated, like, technology to measure the levels in the tanks. Doesn't he talk about that, Kevin? Maybe we'll need to go over that together sometime. Pink, you have a great weekend too, sweetheart. Nothing powered on sites. Okay. There's no pump for the tanks. You need a truck to remove water. Right. And Kevin, is the reason why, because you're not going to have electric power running to these sites, because wouldn't that lead to risk of explosion? Or am I way off base there? Hi, Sub Rosa. Welcome. Oh, thank you, Robert. You're awesome too. Yeah, NK does need to be accountable. We do need justice for victims. I, in the center of my heart, feel that every day. Crime Pod, let's see, says, where did Crime Pod go? It might, Crime Pod disagrees with me on this and some other people too, and says, but agrees with the majority of you according to our poll. 46 minutes is not enough. Kelly, play my impossible Chris Watts video on the time for it. Oh, it's 3 minutes. Oh, I didn't know that you had that. So, guys, and I'm so sorry. I should have said this. Crime Pod has a channel, and she has material on this case. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I neglected to do this thus far. Go check out Crime Pod's channel, and I will. Oh, it's only 3 minutes long, you're saying? Oh, yeah, we're going to watch that right now. That's what you're saying for sure. And I watched if it was longer, just that I was saying, I have company in from out of town, so I don't want to get too crazy, but if it's only a few minutes, or even if it's 10 minutes long, I'd love to watch it. And I'd love to check out your stuff too, Crime Pod. All right, let's see. Crime Pod. All right, I'm going to find it right now. Crime Pod. I'm going to put Watts in there. All right. Moderators, help me out. Why can't I find crime pods? Is it under crime? It's under crime pod, right? Am I going crazy? Hold it. So I know you were a different name, right? You were. Why am I not finding it? Can a moderator help me out with that? While we're looking for that from Crime Pod, Kevin says one vac truck carries 5,400 plus gallons of water. Wow. Aw, thank you, Rosie. So are you. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. You're so good to me. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so kind. Veronica says, you are the voice of many of us. And I wouldn't be here if your voices weren't where they were. We've all come together for this reason, and that's why we have such a tight channel community. I won't stop until she is questioned and investigated. This will happen soon. We'll see. I truly believe that it can and it will. I truly, truly believe it. Thanks for being here, Jen. Thanks for everything. And thank you so much too, Kevin. Crime Pod, I'm going to make you a moderator. So can you post can you post your link? I'm going to make you a moderator right now. Can you post a link to your goods, girlfriend? Let me just find you so I can make you a mod here. Oh, there you are. Yeah, because you have to be a moderator to post a link. So there, oops. Oh, shoot. I have to do it from YouTube. Just 1 second. Bear with. There she is. Okay, make add as moderator. Okay, cool. Yeah, can you put a link to that video, sweetheart? All right. So this is a good question. Farah says, how do we help out or donate to the mods? You know what? I have done this before, but I haven't done it for a while, where we do like a couple series of live streams where all of the like live stream revenue will go to the moderators. I have to figure out, McJay, maybe you'll help me with this. How many moderators are actually moderating? Because it's really only fair, you know, the ones that are of course, doing the work, right, should get that. And whatever revenue those live streams raise, and that's with super chats plus, you know, just like the viewing revenue, which a lot of times will be like, I don't know, $100 a live stream or something. I don't really know actually what it is with the breakdowns. But whatever it is, I will match that too out of pocket. So let's make it a round number. Say if there's 3 live streams that generate $100 worth of revenue, then I, Kelly, will match that. So that's $300 worth of revenue. So I'll put $300 into the pot too, and then split it among the moderators who are actually moderating. So let's do that again. I'm so glad you said that. So McJay, maybe you can help me set that up because I definitely would love to do that for you guys. So Kevin says, yeah, let's put that on a list of things to do. And Farah, that was a really kind question of you to ask. Thank you. So if you have 10 feet of water in a tank, you need 5 trucks to empty the tank. So, okay, Kevin says, it's not a question. So if you have 10 feet of water in the tank, you need 5 trucks to empty the tank. Whoa. And then Robert asked Kevin a question that's way over my head. Great resource, domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. And the number for SAFE is 7233. Thank you, Jen. Rosie says, I think Watts is kind of a in your head kind of guy. I think there was a reason, but we may not ever know. Oh. I just want to see if Crime Pod comes with that. Like you can play it. It's like 3 minutes. Oh, wait. Oh, I got to get down to current times here because I want to see if Crime Pod gave us the link to her video. Yes, Rosie, I totally agree. Nichol Kessinger is very much like Jezebel in the Bible. Absolutely. Yeah, they had to, you know, in the funeral ceremony and whatnot, and in transporting them to North Carolina, they had to be in special sorts of material situations because of the combustibility of, oh my God, it's so, yeah. Because the combustibility of the remains. Isn't that horrible? Oh my God. Pink says to Rosie, it's so hard to wrap my brain around this crime. I'm sure the medical examiner suffered deeply having to do those autopsies. I can't even imagine. We pray for those first responders and medical examiners and all of them. McJay says, thank you for sharing your knowledge, Kevin. And I echo that sentiment, as I know a lot of other people do here. We have to have another Kevin as a guest night. Let's do that sometime soon, Kevin. I know people ask for it all the time. Kevin loves to help. Kevin's a good person. Ashley thinks that they wanted an explosion. That's part of her theory. I know that is a theory. Oh, hey, Crime Pod. Do you have the link, sweetheart? Let's see. I posted the link. Oh, okay. Let me go back up and find it then. Sorry, the chat's just moving a little bit fast for me. Sorry. Could you possibly post it again if I can't find it? Sorry. I just saw that you posted. I'm sorry. Can you paste it again, baby? How far am I going up now? Kelly, okay, so now I'm back to the last comment I see from you. Let's see. I'm going to try to scroll down slow. There's another one where you said, no. Oh, sorry. All right. You said I posted the link. All right, let me keep going down. Thank you. Yeah, just pop it in there again. I'm going to pick it right up, girl. Thank you. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. All right, let me go over to YouTube to pick it up. Let's see. So this is at 1:11. Okay, so we're going to watch this video from Crime Pod, who's in the chat. And everybody definitely go check out her channel. And if one of the mods can post a link to her channel in addition to this, that would be very super sweet. Let's see. What time is this? Ugh. See, here's the thing. When like Crime Pod is like, there we go. When like she's posting a link, so I'm looking at it. I got it though. I'm looking at it in StreamYard, but in order for the link to be live, I have to go pick it up in YouTube. It's just like a whole thing, you know? Yeah. Okay. So I'm bringing this into the stream right now, and this is our friend Crime Pod who is in chat right now. This is Crime Pod's video. I'm so excited about this. Let's see here. And then I'm going to have to wrap up because I've got my friend here, my guest. All right. Well, after we talk about this. So you have to be reading it here. It says, if Chris Watts is guilty of unaliving his wife and children, And where did he find the time to do everything he was accused of? He did. He certainly was. So I want you guys to get the full effect with the music and everything. So you've got to be reading the screen here, everyone.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Both families, my girl.
Finally alone. I turn to ask the question.
Okay, that was really well done. So everybody that was Crime Pod, everyone go check out her channel, subscribe, check out her other videos. So I don't want to have the last word on this. I mean, some of this we talked about earlier, I think, before you were up. And now, listen, I am not attached to, I personally, and that was a really well done video, and you put a lot of good stuff in there. I still think he had enough time, personally. But again, like I said, that's not based on anything scientific. That's just based on me going through my mind what I think a human being can do in that amount of time if they're really motivated to by fear or whatever else. And what I think the environment was like and the distance was like in real time there. And I might be wrong, right? So I am going to put the link, and I'm just going to, because I do have to wrap up soon. So this, if you do, because I don't want to have watched that and just have the last word on that to myself. And I'd always love to hear from you, Crime Pod. So Crime Pod, if you want to come up, and I'm just opening up to her again because my friend is here. She drove 6 hours. We got to do stuff tomorrow, so I can't be up too late. Got to have a bedtime. If you want to come up here, you're welcome to. So, oops, let's see. Now, and again, this is some stuff we had talked about earlier, but and these are all really good points. The thing, okay, the one, because you pose some questions here, and they're important questions, and they're important things to think about, absolutely. So she says here, how can one man in the sweltering summer heat dig a grave and not break a sweat or get dirty? Well, I don't know if we don't think he broke a sweat, but, well, I don't know about that. Carrying the weight of an adult woman, excellent point. Dead weight is think for yourself was saying. All while communicating with colleagues, Sandra Rusick, Nicole Atkinson, the police, Primrose, the realtor. So this one screen right here is, you know, if I were, and maybe we should do this sometime if you're up for it, Crime Pod. If you want to come on, we can talk specifically about this issue, because I know that you and I can have a good discussion, being respectful about it, even if we have points that are, you know, kind of in conflict with each other. Sometimes that's where the really good discussion, good information finding happens. You just have to be able to have those conversations between two mature people, which I'm sure we can pull off. Thank God for people like you. You know, as we looked at earlier, and I think this was before you were there, and this is like really the only retort I would have on that is, we know that he arrived at CERVI 319 at 6:54 a.m. according to his geotab, as y'all told me, thank you for that, log that's earlier on in the discovery. So then once he has arrived at 6:54 a.m., we see that he only does two things in a 46-minute period. And again, if you want to come up, I'm not trying to have the last word or anything like this. I'm super not attached to it, but I think this really is just so important. So y'all saw earlier, just trust me, if you go up to this page, there's nothing in there that's after that. Okay, so we have at 6:44. He hasn't gotten there yet. He got there at 6:54 a.m. Okay, so now we're on discovery on August 13th, the day that is in question. And we see that at 6:59, it says Cody Roberts, his coworker, told Watts, I guess I'm headed out that way to start up the 1029, and Chad will be meeting me out there. So that's letting Chris Watts know that he's got some time before Cody Roberts is going to get to him, because he's going to the 1029 first, right? And Watts replies, okay. The second thing he does in that 46-minute time frame from when he arrives at CERVI 319 to when we know he's done with whatever he's doing based on his activity, at 7:18, he takes a photograph of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck. So in those 46 minutes, the only two things that he does on his phone, so he's not talking to Sandy Rusick during this time, and this is how I'm thinking of it, or Nicole Atkinson during this time or anything like that. During the 46 minutes that he arrives there until he starts actually being active, you know, I think he announces, okay, I'm done with everything I have to do, when he sends Shanann Watts that first stage text message at 7:40. Then immediately he gets right on the phone with Troy McCoy for a 2.5-minute phone call. That's like he's like done doing what he has to do. The only two things that he does that have to do with his phone are to reply okay and take a photograph. So he has 46 entire minutes where he's not being distracted by his phone or anything else at all, as far as we know. You know what I mean? So, I should have made that bigger for you guys. I don't know. Yeah. So that's that. But it's definitely a conversation worth having. And that was a great video. Thank you. Yeah, Sabro. So only the mods can post. I made her a mod because she's a friend of the channel, and just so she could post her link too. You're right though. Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. Everyone give a big round of applause to Kevin. Thomas says, thanks, Kelly. Great show. And everyone here, especially Kevin, saying good night here from Ireland. Oh, good night, Thomas. Have a great night. Thank you for being here. Pink says, my family relative owns an oil company. Wow. Does he want to pay any of my bills? He told me once it is flammable. Plus, I remember being explained in the news why the girls had metal caskets due to the bodies being combustible or something like that. Oh yeah, I'm way behind in chat there, but you know, I always love to see what Pink has to say. Let me get on to current time, see if Crime Pod said anything since I was just commenting on her video. Jazz hands. Loco jazz hands. Loco Jazz Hand said they knew his clothes were in the dumpster. Not one person bothered to go and retrieve them. It's mind-boggling. Well, in the discovery or so it says they didn't bother to retrieve him for a long time. They do make an attempt at retrieving it. And at that point that they find out that the garbage was taken out, I think the Tuesday after the Monday when this happened, but it is in there. And Crime Pot said, oh, that's great. But good point. Local Jazz Hands. Oh my gosh. Yes, Kelly, let's plan a live on this. I'm totally down. Awesome. Email me. It's better if you email me. I'll remember. If you want to schedule it, let's get it in the books and follow up on this. I think that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah, Cyber Sleuth and I happen to agree on the whole, is there enough time? But like I said, it's just like kind of what I have in my head. It's not something I can by any means verify scientifically or back up or, yeah. He stopped at a dumpster at a construction place within his own subdivision to throw his clothes out. Yep, that's right. Yay, Rosie just subscribed. Yeah, awesome. And your video makes her think differently. Yeah, it was definitely thought-provoking for sure. Okay, so Crime Pod says, yes, Kelly, we have to get Troy McCoy in the discovery. He claimed he was clean in appearance. Awesome. I just posted his video recently, and I did listen to that whole interview. A lot of what Troy McCoy says is a little kind of like applesauce in my head because I don't think it's like has too much substance in my mind. Not saying that he's not right about that, but maybe it's just a Troy McCoy thing. And yeah, let's definitely plan a live stream. That'd be great, Crime Pod. I'm sure people would be down with that for sure. Hey, Stevie, how are you doing? I mentioned you a few times, Stevie. Oh, and Marco makes a good point here. It was between 6 and 7 a.m. And my guess is that it would be cool temperatures. Well, we looked at the historical weather in a different video that I played way earlier on that I made. And it does have actually the temperatures for that time. So we would know that for sure. And I think it was like, I think it had them noted in the high 60s or low 70s. That's a good, I didn't even think about that. See, all these things we don't even think about. Yeah, so Sub Rose is saying she thinks it's just about over to Susie. Yeah, I'm just going to be wrapping this up, but thank you for being here, Susie Q. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I have to get ending because I have company in from out of town, and we got to get up early and do some stuff tomorrow. Or I'd give you a little summary, but I've got to be respectful to her. So, okay, guys. All right, on that note, I am going to peace out because I have to be respectful to my best friend who's here. I'm so excited to hang out there tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, moderators. You're amazing. Crime Pod and I will follow up on this topic sometime soon with a live stream. Send me an email, Crime Pod, and hopefully we'll get Kevin on again really soon because he's definitely a crowd favorite. Thank you so much for everything, Kevin, and just everybody in here who contributed to the conversation and chat tonight, or even if you're just watching passively, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of you, and you're an important part of the channel. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella, vanished on Monday. Their startling disappearance triggering a statewide alert as police and the FBI focus on her home outside Denver, where she was last seen.
Say hi. Say hi. Cece likes the camera. Say hi, Cece. She loves the camera. Say hi. Hi. She loves the camera. I don't know if you guys saw her. And then there's Bella. Say hi. We got to get her dressed. We have a team meeting here in, I don't know what time it is, in like 45 minutes.
Where's that?
I was in a really, really, really bad place. And I got a friend request from Chris on Facebook. And I was like, oh, what the heck? I'm never going to meet him. Except, one thing led to another. And 8 years later, we have 2 kids. We live in Colorado. And he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Oh.
Hi, baby. It's hot.
the viciousness of the crime. And equally aggravating in this court's determination is the despicable act of disposing of the bodies in the manner in which they were done in this case. I've been a judicial officer now for starting my 17th year, and I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.